are looking down from the, not quite the rafters, but the mezzanine level at the Dog Pound Defiance High School Gymnasium. It is night number 2, game number 3 of the 2023 Grube Classic, as this will be the Consolation Championship. The host Defiance Bulldogs at 3-4 overall, taking on the Spartans at 5-1. The Spartans suffering their first loss of the season last night to the St. Francis Knights. Defiance just couldn't quite get over the hump in the second half, never getting closer than 4 in a tough loss to Anthony Wayne. So tonight, both these teams going to try to get the bad taste out of their mouths and pick up a victory going into the Christmas break. We are welcoming you to the Estill Chevrolet Cadillac pregame show. Brent Balbinot alongside Scoop Miller. We're a couple minutes before we tip this one off. We're going to get you the starting lineups from Baker Schindler, as well as, there he is, look at this man. You are always on center, and I'm always off center. I'm not sure if that's exactly the camera, if maybe there's a little tilt up here on the mezzanine. But Scoop, we are in store for 2 very good ball games tonight.
I think both these games are going to really go down the wire. It's going to be very few possession separation here tonight. But this first game is really intriguing. Both these teams really struggled shooting the basketball 24 hours ago. We'll see what they do to try to regroup. Both these teams hungry to get a victory, kind of get a shot in the arm before the Christmas break.
We'll have the Baker Schindler starting lineups when we come back. The Estill Chevrolet Cadillac pregame show continues. You're watching DCTV Sports. The Estill Chevrolet Cadillac pregame show continues. We're about 40 seconds away from tip-off. Brent Balbinot alongside Scoop Miller. Let's bring you the Baker Schindler Company starting lineups this evening. First for the host Bulldogs, led by first-year head coach Bryn Lehman. 3-4 after last night's disappointing loss, 45-36 to Anthony Wayne. No changes from what we are being told. Same starting 5 as last night. At the point, it will be Antonio Lopez. He had a tough night shooting last night, 0 for 9. But Scoop, I know they want him to continue to be aggressive. He got into the paint. He got to the iron. He got good looks. Sometimes the ball just doesn't fall, but you have to maintain that aggressiveness as a point guard.
Yeah, you do, and he's a guy that can certainly go off. We've already seen it early this season, so he needs to get a little bit of confidence, and maybe that's what they can gain here tonight, trying to get the split after dropping a tough one last night.
At the off guard, it will be Jordan Wright. Again, Wright standing in as a junior. Wright, the tail of the tape, 5'10", and a sophomore. Brez Zippel doubled up his per-game average last night. The 6'2" junior scored 8 points, and then the 1-2 punch. At the power forward, Khalil Liggin. Last night, box score, he ended up with 6 boards to go along with 8 points. And then the man down low was our player of the game, Brogan Castillo. Just had a man-sized performance. 17 points to go along with 8 rebounds. For the Spartans, they suffered their first loss of the season last night to St. Francis. They are led by interim head coach Tareem Warren. At the point, Josiah Jefferson. Jefferson, a 5'9" junior. Scoop, he entered last night averaging 18 points per ball game. He was held to just 1. Defiance is going to have to lock down on him for a number of different reasons, but especially because you know he's probably got a little bit of revenge on his mind this evening.
Well, you're right. Things tend to even out, so he certainly has to be on Defiance's radar all night long. I don't think you're going to hold him to what we saw last night. The thing is, for Defiance, they don't want him to go off for 30 like he's capable of doing.
At the off guard, it will be Eric Pierce, number 5. Pierce, a 5'9" senior. Preston Edwards was shut out in the second half. He had 5 points at the intermission. He finished with 5. Connor Michael will be changing numbers tonight. I believe he's going to be number 21. We'll double check. But Connor Michael will get the starting nod. And then Josiah Jefferson will be the starting center. So those are your Baker Schindler Company starting lineups. Your officiating crew this evening, Vince Wasinski. I believe I said that correct? Vince Wasinski, Shannon Magg, and Dusty Gray. Our thanks going out to Dan Detter down at the scorer's table for sending those up for us. He gave me the thumbs up. I tell you what, those guys don't get enough credit. You talk about basically doing a public service to help these games being on, but big thank you and a tip of the cap to each one of those gentlemen down there. Defiance in their home white uniforms with the blue lettering and numerals with the blue stripe down the jersey tops and shorts. Start all black this evening with the white trace or outline on it. We're getting ready. I thought we were going to have the national anthem, but apparently we are not. So normally the Defiance Elks Lodge number 147 would bring that to you, but instead we're going to go straight to the F&M Bank opening tip-off. Ball is in the air, and Brez Zippel actually wins the tip right into the hands of Lopez, who gets deep into the paint. He's almost stripped. And Zippel trying to pick up where he left off last night, a little long on the baseline jumper, and it's out of bounds to start. Brez Zippel was as aggressive as we've seen in their first 7 games last night. He scored going to the basket. He scored from the free throw line, scored on a good left to right step in jumper. I know that he averages 4, but I'm curious if he brings that game to tonight, Scoop. As there's a turnover, first of the evening. Scoop as always, cat-like reflexes on that stat for us.
And in case you're wondering, this is the 6th all-time meeting between these two schools, with Defiance owning a 4-1 advantage coming into tonight.
A little bit of a lazy pass, deflected, almost stolen away. Quick moves by Wright. Defiance likes the half-court game. First cutter through, second cutter through. Zippel there, stripped, out of bounds though off a start.
Well, that's something we saw a lot last night from that start defense. They do such a great job of rotating. They have a lot of quickness. You have to be solid in the half court. You have to ball fake to shift that defense, or else you're going to turn the ball over here against this pressure.
Lopez thought about it, pump fake. Lost the handle, nice pump fake on a second time, and again, can't get the roll. And I believe was that Ligon that got the tip in.
Yes, it was a tremendous putback that time by Ligon after the first one just kind of rimmed out. Great job crashing the boards by the Bulldogs.
Again, the story, if you didn't catch us last night, Start does not have a player over 6'2". They only have one over 6'1". They are basically 5 guards. They want to run. They get the bulk of their offense in transition, but Scoop, the problem there is you can't run without the basketball. They've got to board, and they weren't very good at it last night.
Yeah, they did not board, and plus they did not force a lot of turnovers. And there's a nice pull-up jumper by Antonio Lopez, and Bryn Lehman would love to see him get untracked early tonight.
At the other end, quick 3, rattles in and out, and Ligon pulls down the board. Yeah, with 6'4" and 6'5" in the middle in Ligon and Castillo, Defiance is going to have a decided height advantage this evening. Bounce pass, free throw line extended Ligon, top of the key, foot on the line, and Zippel got a good look, but it goes begging. Josiah Jefferson dishes, and Start hasn't been shy. Man, they're not running much offense tonight so far.
No, I think they want to try to force the tempo a little bit, and that time they held Defiance to 1 and done, so it allowed them that transition opportunity. They had to open 3, but that one sailed long.
Castillo 17 and 8 last night, gives up the ball. Nice job by Wright, dribble penetration, and drains the short jumper.
Tremendous job by Wright, and again, that's something Defiance really has to do, attack downhill and put a little pressure on that Start defense that likes to really get out on you, 30-plus feet from the basket. That should open up some driving lanes.
Connor Michael to the top of the key. A 3 by Edwards is no good, and again, 1 and done.
Well, the message I think's been sent out from Coach Lehman. We have to establish the boards early and often, and right now they've done it at both ends.
Zippel drives to the free throw line, kicks it back out. A lot of open space in the middle of the court. Right, left to right step in for 3. It's off the heel of the iron. Boy, did you see Castillo Sky just trying to dagger? And here's where Start is at their best. Transition offense, and Ja'Kai Jefferson finally puts the Spartans on the board.
Tremendous job by the sophomore Ja'Kai Jefferson. That is their game right there. That time, transition defense was lacking for Defiance.
Ligon dribbles in, stops and pops, but the iron unkind. And Zippel going to tie up Jefferson. We've got a jump ball, and the arrow points to Start. getting a little physical. A little bit of pride here for both teams. Obviously, Start suffering their first loss of the season last night. And for Defiance, last thing you want to do is go 0-2 in your own tournament.
Yeah, remember last year Defiance was 10-0, ran the table here at the Dog Pound, but a rare loss last night.
No call. Battling for the board. They're letting them play, and a garbage putback brings Start to within 2 as Edwards now in the books.
Oh, nice job by the junior just to extend that possession. Did a great job keeping that ball alive. Second chance points always proves big.
Dangerous pass by Wright. Lopez on the drive, stops and drains the 15-footer. I kind of get the feeling that they talked to Antonio Lopez about being more aggressive this evening.
Yeah, and it looks like he's received the message loud and clear. He's playing with so much confidence right now. I love that after the struggles he had last night. 2 quick hoops now for the senior.
You saw Bryn Lehman, the Defiance coach, putting his hands together trying to spur on his team. They've doubled up Start out in a 2-3 zone. They flash Edwards into the high blocks, kicking it out. That almost banked in by Pierce, but Castillo pulls down another board.
Well, second rebound here in the early going for Castillo, who was a monster on the boards last night.
Wright really being dogged by Josiah Jefferson. He picks up his dribble. Zippel. Nice bounce pass. Lopez, does he have another in him? Yes, he does!
Wow, you talk about confidence. It's oozing off him. That time he barely had the basketball long enough to get his fingerprints on it, but a nice quick release, nice looking stroke.
And they're not going to wait as Ja'Kai Jefferson drains a 3. That courtesy of Premier Bank.
Boy, that was an NBA 3 that time. Ends up being string music. This is the pace I think Start wants to get into.
Right to Zippel, putting it on the floor. Ball was deflected, and he got caught in no man's land. And I know he thought he was probably going to travel with it, but Scoop, nothing wrong there if the junior just secures the ball and comes to a jump stop.
Yeah, you're right. And that's just the first turnover tonight for Defiance. But you can see Start now starting to get a little energy out there, trying to get the tempo in their favor. It's always big to kind of set the tone through defense.
That defense is a 2-3 right now. They're extending up beyond the arc. Under 2 minutes left to go here in the first quarter. Tight ball game. Edwards with a dangerous skip pass, top of the key. Another 3 goes around the world. Garrett Rodenberger checking in. He taps that one to Ligon. Logan Hutchinson checking in to spell right. Lopez with 6 already. Rodenberger at 6'3", 215, and they're going to call him for an illegal screen. Didn't quite have his feet set.
Oh, that's a tough break because now Defiance has gone consecutive possessions without getting a shot after they had a 10-4 lead. And I'll start with bringing it up against that 2-3 Defiance defense. This is the defense that St. Francis switched to after Start early on. Did a great job attacking the rim, playing downhill, kind of forcing the issue. I thought the zone last night by St. Francis really got Start out of sync. They just did not shoot the ball well at all against it. We'll see what they try to draw up here tonight.
Substitution, Michael out, Stallworth in. Also now with the ball, Jalen Brown, a 5'8" guard. Pump fake by Stallworth. He was a spark off the bench last night. They're trying to hit Edwards in that high blocks, but they're doing a nice job of collapsing down on him. And in the low post, we've got a whistle on the shot. This will be 2 free throws coming for Josiah Jefferson. And it looks like the foul is going to go against number 23, Khalil Ligon, picking up his first.
Oh, tremendous job by Josiah Jefferson. You know, one solid way to attack a zone is with that dribble penetration, trying to split the gaps here, and that's what Jefferson did. Another thing they're going to need to do against that zone, you need to screen zone defenses. Sometimes a zone can put teams to sleep. They stand around, try to just kind of throw the ball over the top. You have to continue to set screens, try to create some matchups you want. That's the one thing you can do offensively against a zone. Try to attack the one player defensively you think you have the best matchup with. The second free throw up and in. So now Starts did a nice job. 4 consecutive points by the Spartans.
Josiah Jefferson did not score until late in the fourth quarter last night. He's now in the books here, and he pulls the Spartans to within 1 with under a minute left to go. Lopez is in trouble, and I think a timeout being called from the bench. Scoop, too many white jerseys just got caught watching. You've got to come help. You know when your ball handler's in distress, and they're forced to burn a timeout.
Yeah, that time that 2-1-2, three-quarter court pressure, forced the ball to the sideline. Kind of pick it up in that trap area. Alert timeout by Bryn Lehman.
We'll keep it here as this was just a 30-second variety. 10-8. Lopez has 6 of those 10 points for Defiance. So you take a look at the start huddle under interim coach Tareem Warren. Trying to avoid going 0 for 2 on this weekend trip down Highway 24.
Well, that has not happened very often for the Spartans over the years. We talked about last night, Brent, the last 8 seasons coming into this tournament, start 128 wins against just 40 losses. So basically 5 or 6 losses a year. These guys don't get double dipped very often, but Defiance trying to do just that here tonight.
We start really bringing the top half of that zone out, and Lopez is in all kinds of trouble. Do we have a foul? And Start bails Defiance out on that particular play.
Boy, you're exactly right. That was a near steal, and it looked like it might end up being a run out at the other end. Instead, it's going to be the first team foul against the Spartans, and it comes with 36.7 to go in this opening frame.
Goes against Ja'Kiah Jefferson, as it looks like Defiance wants to work for the final shot of the quarter with 29 seconds left. Lopez just kind of moving east-west, playing a little catch in between the circles with Hutchison. You figure about 9 seconds or so is when they'll put their offense in motion.
Yeah, you want to allow enough time where if you do miss the shot, you got a chance for a putback, but you don't give Start enough time to go the distance the other way.
They're in a little bit of trouble now. 8 seconds. 7. Lopez. Bullet pass down low. Nice movement. Pump fake by Castillo. Just the way they drew it up, right? Brogan Castillo, as the buzzer sounds, scores the final basket of the first 8 minutes for Defiance, and they spread their lead to another basket, 12-8. We'll take a quick timeout, courtesy of First Insurance Group. The second quarter when we come back. You're watching day number 2 of the 2024 Grube Classic on DCTV Sports. You get a good look at the start huddle as we welcome you back to the Dog Pound. The second 8 minutes put up on the scoreboard clock. It is day number 2, game number 3 of the 2023 Grube Classic. This is the Consolation Championship. The host Bulldogs with a 4-point advantage over visiting Start. Brent Balbinot alongside Scoop Miller. Let's take a quick peek at our Mark Moats Ford stat summary. Let's start with points. Nobody even close to point guard for Defiance. Antonio Lopez, 6 points. I think he's only missed 1 shot. Then a deuce apiece for Jordan Wright. Khalil Ligon, Brogan Castillo with a nice cut without the basketball to end up the first quarter. On the flip side, Ja'Kiah Jefferson has 5 of Start's 8 points. Scoop, how both teams taking care of the ball in the first 8 minutes?
Yeah, both teams did an excellent job of taking care of the basketball, getting into the half court. Start turned it over just 1 time the first 8 minutes. Meanwhile, Defiance with 2 turnovers. Both teams were able to get 2 points off those turnovers. So right now, credit both teams playing strong with the basketball.
Well, they got a good look there, but couldn't connect. Here comes Start trying to cut the deficit. Reversing the ball, Ja'Kiah Jefferson beyond the arc. Preston Edwards had 5 points last night, all in the first half. Is this a little bit of a different look, or is this just a glorified 2-3 as Hutchison almost with the steal? Dribble penetration, Brown fades away from the baseline, and Ziffel cleans up on the weak side.
Well, so important to rebound out of the zone, and that time Ziffel did exactly what you teach your guys to do. He fought for position on that backside where most rebounds are to be had.
Start has switched back to a man-to-man to begin the second quarter here. Castillo on the drive, and I'm not sure what happened. He just plain deked out Preston Edwards like a rabbit out of a magic hat. Edwards thought the ball was passed. Castillo drove to the basket, and a little sleight of hand by the Defiance big man.
And whoa, the bank is open.
Wow.
That's a premier bank three. Of course the bank's open. But again, that's a much needed hoop there. Gets it back to one possession.
And Jefferson needed that one. 14-11. We've got a foul out in between the circles as it looks like Start going to ratchet up the defensive pressure a bit more. This foul, I believe, is against Josiah Jefferson. His first team foul number 1 here in the second quarter. Kind of seems to be live by the 3, die by the 3 for Start. Scoop, when you've got basically 5 guards on the floor and only, oh, look at this lob off the inbounds. Zippel falling out of bounds, tries to save it. Wright runs into Jefferson, who slows it down. Look at the big man, Rotenberger, almost coming up with a steal from behind. Pierce knocks over Hutchinson, and was that a 3? Just a long 2. But it pulls Start to within 1, and Coach Lehman has seen enough. He calls a quick timeout. We'll take a break with them, a First Insurance Group timeout. 6:01 left to go in the first half. It's a 1-point ball game from the Dog Pound on DCTV Sports. .601 left to go in the first half. It's back and forth. It is a defensive-oriented ball game. Start with the score on that last trip down. I believe the basket goes to Michael, number 11. They're coming out in some pressure. Defiance breaks it, and now they'll wait for the rest of the troops to arrive. Can't hang on to that ball too long, though. The top half of the zone scoop is double teaming on the ball, and that's just an ill-advised pass by Zippel. Coast to coast, hanging in midair, and they're lucky. Pierce didn't nail that, or he'd have an opportunity at a 3-point play.
That's a tough break as the teams exchange turnovers, but you can see clearly, Brent, that Start has picked up their defensive pressure. They've already forced 2 Defiance turnovers in the opening 2 minutes of quarter 2.
Ligon bounce pass to Zippel. Boy, Start just smothering whoever has the basketball right now for Defiance. Lopez, very aggressive in that first quarter, backs it out here. And we'll see what Defiance sets for their zone breaker. They're going to try Zippel with a 3, nothing doing. Rodenberger pulls down the board. Big man dropped it below his waist, and he was stripped.
Well, that'll go down as the 3rd Bulldog turnover here. We've not played 3 minutes in quarter 2. And great job that time by Start in the half court. That 1-3-1, that's an aggressive defense. They're looking to trap out of it. They're getting plenty of ball pressure. The question is, are they going to be able to rebound out of it? And that time, even though Defiance got the offensive rebound, a quick strip by the Spartans. And now they have a chance to take the lead.
You wouldn't have guessed, and they're not going to wait. A 3, and the drapery swish by Eric Pierce.
No, that's
and then an inbound steal. Here goes Pierce again, and he's going to have a chance at a 3-point play.
Incredible. First we had the Premier Bank 3, and then the steal, points off the defense, something that's been huge here. That's the 4th Defiance turnover in just over 3 minutes, and twice Start is converted at the other end. So points from the defense, starting that up for the Spartans, something that they really did not get much of a night ago in that tough loss to St. Francis.
And again, Scoop, 2 of those turnovers have just come from not coming to meet the ball or not putting enough on the pass.
Well, you're exactly right. You know, you don't have the luxury of waiting for the pass to get to you against this aggressive, quick start team. So you have to meet passes, and that time Defiance got a little careless. And a nice run here
Zippel again trying to put it between two black jerseys, and I'm not sure if they're deking there or if it's just you get locked on. It's almost like a quarterback that won't look off his hot receiver, but right now Defiance is lucky they didn't turn the ball over again.
Well, Defiance needs a basket. They scored the first bucket of the quarter two, but since that time it's been a 10-0 start run, and that's going to be another Bulldog turnover.
Well, and in that situation, if you're a big man, in this place, or in this instance, I should say, Khalil Ligon, keep your hands up. If I'm a guard and I see a post drop his hands to his waist or lower, I can't make that pass to you.
Yeah, you're just inviting that pressure and really kind of inviting a turnover.
Well, that's just good ball movement right now by Start, and that almost went down. Spits out halfway through, and the lead remains 4. Zippel has his dribble if he wants it. Here's a man that I think they need to jump start, and just as I say that, wow, what a block by Jefferson.
Josiah Jefferson timed that perfectly, slapped it off the backboard after an impressive move there by Lopez, but not able to finish.
And now Start will slow it down. Jefferson keeping a waist-high dribble. Near corner, inside out, and again halfway down it spits out, and Pierce can't believe it. That's 2 times in a row.
But once again, great job by Zippel there on the backside to keep Start to 1 and done.
Right, stops and pops from the free throw line. That's a sweet-looking J. And now a timeout being called by Coach Warren as Defiance has trimmed the deficit to just a basket. We'll take a break with them. 3:31 left to go first half. 1 basket separates the two. You're watching DCTV Sports. Another look at the Start huddle. They were down by as many as 6 early in this ball game. They now lead by a pair. On the flip side, Defiance huddling around Coach Bryn Lehman. 18-16 our score. Second quarter, 3:31 left to go in the first half. Day number 2, game number 3 of the 2023 Grube Classic. It's a pleasure to have Rick Small on last night to talk a little about Grube's sponsorship of this event. Only in its 2nd season, but Scoop, you get talent, you get teams like this that plug in, and especially back-to-back years like St. Francis and Start have. I get the feeling this thing's going to grow over the years to come.
It really is, and you know all these teams are going to want to be back here next year. The fact that they're getting challenged here, you know, they're getting ready for not only that conference stretch, but also that tournament run. And this is kind of one of those tournament venues here. And what a beautiful facility here in Defiance.
1-2-2 zone being shown by Defiance coming out of that timeout. Jefferson on the drive. Boy, he pushes Castillo off. Castillo, that was all he needed. Just a little bit of space. And you don't see Castillo move that often. He is a solid post.
Yeah, right now Start getting comfortable in that half court, but again, I think their defense is what really jump-started their offense. They're able to get a lot of points from the defense here in the second quarter, which led to that 10-0 run, allowed them to come back from that 6-point deficit.
Lopez wanted the give and go. They're coming out to double team the ball, and Wright is stripped from behind. Jefferson 2-on-1. He'll give it up, and the layup is up and in. Stallworth now in the books.
Sweet pass from Jefferson. A lot of guys, especially guys that score a lot of points, may try to force that, get the points himself that time. Very unselfish assist there. Well done.
Lopez on the drive. He made that shot too difficult. Again, just kind of double clutching in midair. And a quick transition 3 at the other end. Castillo trying to track it down.
I think he made that more difficult because the last one got swatted, if you remember. And that certainly was in his head.
And Start's going to slow it down a little bit. Try and catch a breather. Up by 6.
And Defiance just 4 points here in the second quarter.
Yep.
And remember, they hit the first bucket just seconds in. Since that time, it's been a dry spell. Credit that start defense.
Jefferson from 15 gets the friendly roll. He is heating up. It is now a 16-4. I don't want to call it a run, but Start has outscored Defiance 16-4 here in the second quarter.
Yeah, and Jefferson, you knew things would even out. Last night he was almost shut out for the entire game, and now he has things going his way. He's had a monster first half. Defiance has to weather the storm here in this final minute.
Rodenberger was trying to post up, and he'll be fouled from behind. I believe this is going to go against Stallworth. It is his first.
And nothing wrong with that foul right there. Just the second of the second quarter for Start, so they have fouls to give. And that was nearly the 7th turnover for Defiance in this second quarter.
Bounce pass, Castillo, nice pump fake, extra dribble. Man, he just has such great court awareness.
He does. He's got that ability with his strength. He's going to take it up at the big boys. He's not going to be intimidated. Boy, that's a much-needed hoop. Gets us down to a 2-possession game.
Boy, heat check. Underneath, guess who? Number 22 with the board. And Defiance will slow it down with under a minute left to go in the half, trying to pull to within 4, possibly 3 with a 3. Right. Ligon for 3. That doesn't catch anything. I'm not sure that's his shot. And now Start will try and do the same thing.
Yeah, and right now Start's going to play for the last shot, and they will get the ball to start quarter 3. So this is going to be big. Start will go in with at least a 6-point advantage here.
Out near half court, 7 seconds. 6, putting their offense in motion. Jefferson to Josiah Jefferson. This is a prayer, and it's not answered. He thought he was fouled on the shot, and Coach Warren saying, come join us, we're heading to the locker room. So after trailing 12-8 at the end of the first quarter, a scoring explosion for Start in the second 8 minutes as they take a 6-point lead into the locker room. Start 24, Defiance 18. We'll take a quick timeout courtesy of First Insurance Group. We're back with the Midwest Community Federal Credit Union halftime show on DCTV Sports. Back at the Dog Pound, both teams in their respective locker rooms. It is time for the Midwest Community Federal Credit Union halftime show. Brent Balvin alongside Scoop Miller. At the intermission, Start with an explosion in the second 8 minutes as they take a 24-18 lead into the half. Let's go ahead and break it down, the Mark Moats stat summary, the Mark Moats Ford stat summary for you. Let's start with points. My goodness, Josiah Jefferson. He came into this tournament averaging 18 a game. He was held to just 2 last night against St. Francis. He had just 1 point at the end of the first quarter, and he exploded in the second 8 minutes. 3 baskets from the field, 1 from beyond the arc. He's got 8 points to lead all scorers. Balance for Start. 5 points apiece for Eric Pierce and Ja'Kai Jefferson. A deuce for Connor Michael. And then off the bench, Joseph Stallworth draining an 18-footer. On the flip side, 4 of 5 Defiance starters are in the books. Antonio Lopez started this game hot, and we thought he would remain hot. He scored 6 points in the first quarter. He has 6 points at the half. Brogan Castillo, a couple of good offensive putbacks. He's got 6 points to his credit. 4 points for Jordan Wright and 2 for Khalil Liggett. On the flip side, Start, don't let the fact that they went to a 2-3 or that 1-3-1 zone fool you. It's very aggressive, and they've been double teaming the ball out around the perimeter. Scoop, what do you have for turnovers for both teams?
Well, that's been the difference so far. In that second quarter, Start just turned it over 1 time. Meanwhile, Defiance, 6 turnovers in that second quarter. For the opening half, Start just 2 turnovers. Meanwhile, Defiance turned it over 8 times. Certainly that's going to be addressed at halftime. Start had 8 points off of those turnovers. Defiance had just 2 points off of Start turnovers. That's the difference in the game, but you have to find a way to get better pressure on Start. This is the team that really struggled to score last night. In their 4 quarters last night, they scored 6 points, 4 points, 7 points, 4 points, but then they went off for 16 there in that second quarter. I'm sure Brent Lehman not very happy with the defensive effort he saw in quarter 2.
I was going to say, what a difference 8 minutes makes. Defiance owned the first 8 minutes with a 4-point lead at the end of it. All of a sudden they look up at the half and they're down by 6, and it really could be more. Plenty of ball left to be played. We'll get the breakdown. The coach with the headset on when we come back. More of the Midwest Community Federal Credit Union halftime show right after this on DCTV Sports. Back at the Dog Pound, more of the Midwest Community Federal Credit Union halftime show. Brent Balbinot alongside Scoop Miller. Our score after the intermission, visiting Start, leading host Defiance by a score of 24-18. We gave you the Mark Moats stat summary. Now we're going to get inside the brain of both coaches, and this is just the man to do it here. All right, Scoop, let's start with the host Bulldogs. And Coach Lehman, you owned the first quarter. You got schooled in the second quarter. And largely, I don't want to say because they got sloppy with the basketball, but the turnover situation largely due to Start becoming more aggressive and on-ball defense. What adjustments are you making for quarter number 3?
Well, I think the 2 biggest adjustments, I think number 1 is going to start with the defense. You have to find a way to turn Start over. Start's getting so many shots each time down. You have to find a way to get them out of rhythm. That's a team that struggled shooting the ball last night, but they're shooting with a lot of confidence because they've had time to shoot it. I think the second thing for Defiance, they have to find a way to attack offensively and take care of the basketball. Those turnovers really is what jump-started Start in that second quarter. So to offset that quickness that Start presents, you have to ball fake. You have to get the ball to the middle of the floor where you can use the entire 50-foot width there. But right now, Start's did a great job of forcing it to one side. Therefore, they really only got to guard half the court. You combine that with that quickness, boy, that's awfully tough. Defiance, other than those first quarter looks by Lopez, has not had a lot of clean looks. They've had to really force a lot of things up.
Well, and those shots by Lopez, 6 quick points in the first quarter, were predominantly off of his aggressiveness, dribble penetration. Do you challenge him to continue that in quarter number 3?
Well, absolutely, because when they come out and pressure you, they're picking you up at half court. It's tough to run a set offense when you're looking for dear life to get rid of the basketball from the timeline. So you have to go downhill, attack, put the pressure on that defense, and that's going to open up that inside-out scenario game where they can be effective. They've got some guys I think can shoot it, and they've got obviously a good inside play with Liggett in there and Castillo in there. I think they've still got plenty of time to make a nice comeback here.
On the flip side, if you're Tareem Warren for the Spartans, what are you telling your crew?
Well, you're telling your crew you go out there and play like it's 0-0 right now. You have to find a way to get jump started early. You want to win the first 3 minutes of this second half, but it's going to start with defense. They've knocked down some nice shots, but you can't rely just on outside shooting. You have to find a way to attack the rim. I think they have an advantage in the quickness. I think they can get to the rack. They also want to keep that pressure on defensively because, let's face it, I thought their best offense was their defense that opening 16 minutes.
24-18, both clubs out for a quick shoot around before we resume play here in quarter number 3. Start leading Defiance again by 6. We'll take one last timeout. The Midwest Community Federal Credit Union will wrap up. We'll resume basketball right after this. You're watching DCTV Sports. Just a little over 1 minute before action resumes here for quarter number 3 at the Dog Pound. Brent Balbinot alongside Scoop Miller. I'm looking over at Royalty, and wherever Coach Kirk Lehman sits, it's almost like the who's who of the community kind of own those, probably 4 to 6 seats up in Section D here at the Dog Pound. You just know there's a different energy from that section, but my goodness, it's just been fun to be covering this tournament this season.
It really is, and I love it when former players come up to see their former coaches, and that's what I saw a little bit ago with Coach Lehman there. I mean, that speaks volumes, and that's, you know, that's really the epitome of coaching right there. Yeah. You know, when you get those connections that last a lifetime, when you get those wedding invitations, you know, when you get those birth announcements, I mean, that to me, that's just the cream of the crop of coaching. There's so many great reasons you want to coach, but though it doesn't get much better than that.
You had one of yours come up last night. Care to give her a shout out?
Oh, I did. Kelly Overmeyer Zachrich, as most people at Defiance would know, her son Caden last year was first team WBLL, first team all district, but she made me look a whole lot smarter than I was. She was the NWOL scoring leader 3 consecutive years at Archbold, our all-time leading scorer. And Caden got his shooting ability from her, not his dad. I'll just say that.
I was joking. Granted, she wasn't within earshot, but number 1, she looked very young. And number 2, I said, she looks like she could still play. And you said, yes, she can.
Yeah, no one had an answer for her. A three-peat NWOL champions her sophomore, junior, senior years. A very special player, an even better person.
So we resume play here. Second half underway. Nice looking jump shot from the baseline. It's off the mark, but that's one thing that Defiance cannot afford, and that's a second chance opportunity. Josiah Jefferson with what they call a dagger. Kicks it out to Ja'Kai Jefferson, and Start is slowing it down. First cutter, second cutter, dribble penetration on the baseline. Not sure that that's the perfect form for a 3, but you know what? You don't argue when it goes down. And Connor Michael with a Premier Bank 3-point shot. This is the largest lead of the ball game for either team.
Boy, that makes it tough when you're trying to shut down Jefferson. You got a guy like Michael comes out and buries a deep 3 off the initial possession.
Lopez will try and answer with one of his own. It's just a bit short. And are they going to call Zipfel for coming over the back? Wow, that's a tough one.
But what allowed that call to happen was the textbook checkout that time by Start. You know, if you just get in a jumping match right there, you know, that's going to be a 50-50 ball. They're going to let that go. But the fact that he established position, was able to get contact there on the checkout, makes that an easier call. Boy, that's a tough break.
9-point lead. Make it 3 more. Was his foot on the line? They're going to call that a long 2 as Preston Edwards with his second basket of the ball game. And Defiance taking a couple of huge body blows, and Brogan Castillo says, give me the basketball. Tough, aggressive move.
Well, they need to get him 20 shots, which is a lot easier said than done against this tenacious start defense. That time, Defiance fortunate to get across the timeline against that pressure.
Jefferson on the drive. He splits the Red Sea, and right now Start is beginning to take command of this basketball game.
Well, 7 points in the first 2 minutes by the Spartans, and they've got a little separation here, up double digits.
Ligon on the drive. Big man running and can't get the teardrop to fall. It's one and done. Lead is 11, and now Start looks like they're going to enjoy the spoils of their efforts here, and they're going to slow this one down. Jefferson popping out on the drive, stops and pops. Just a little long off the heel of the iron. Castillo, good luck getting it away from him once he covers up like that.
Yeah, he's a magnet. He's so strong with the basketball. Once he gets a finger on it, he's going to pretty much secure that, haul it in.
On the drive here and just misses. He slipped as he was following his shot. We've got bodies flying. Is this a jump ball? It is. And the arrow stays with the hosts.
Well, that's a great look right there. Something they need to get more of. That's almost automatic there for Castillo, but that time it just caught the back of the iron and popped out. Right now, Defiance just has to find a way to get efficient possessions here. You got a lot of time.
Zippel wide open and he air mails it. Oh my goodness. Bounce pass, and now they're late getting down the court, and that's going to be insult to injury as Zippel picks up his second foul.
Well, credit Start. They're really getting the game at their level. They're getting the tempo they want. They're forcing Defiance to maybe shoot a little quicker than they're comfortable doing, but that's what pressure defense will do. It'll force you to maybe take those shots a little quicker. You're worried about the turnovers, which really mounted in that second quarter. And now the first one up and in. So great start here by the Spartans. Again, this is the team that scored just 21 points last night. And here we are 5 minutes to go. They're sitting on 32, looking for 33 right here.
Pierce strains his second. He's got 7 points. 13-point advantage as the Spartans will drop back. Lopez. I think it's going to be crucial for number 12 to get aggressive again if Defiance wants to get back into this ball game. Ligon. Top of the key. Lopez. Nice jab step. Well, there's that up and under move, and he draws the foul. Scoop, again, we talked about this last night. He was aggressive until he met resistance, and then he stopped. And we were talking about it. Stay aggressive. Force the official to blow a whistle in that situation. And just like that, he's got a chance at the free throw line.
Yeah, I really love that move right there. Again, he's got that quick first step. He can take you off the dribble. That time, Spartan did a good job of shutting down that driving lane. But I like what Lopez did right there. He didn't panic. We saw that same duck under move last night where he stepped under the guy beautifully. Now he'll try to connect on the back end of the two-shot foul. That one's short.
So the lead remains a dozen. A Start, a rare opportunity in transition, but 5 white jerseys get back. Michael doesn't care as he launches a three. Rodenberger had it, lost it. 2 Defiance players dropped each other, and timeout being called, I believe, by Start. With 4:23 left to go, third quarter, we'll take a break as well. Spartans up by a dozen over the host Defiance. Back with more of the Grube Classic after this on DCTV Sports. .423 left to go, third quarter. Visiting Start with a 12-point advantage over Defiance. This is the Consolation Championship of the 2023 Grube Classic. Big thank you to Grube. Had Rick Small out here last night. Was hoping he might show up tonight with a number 9 from Rusty's Taco, but apparently not. Oh, they lose the baseline cutter, and Jefferson lays that one up and in. coming out of a timeout.
Great set out of the timeout. Great execution. Great backdoor pass.
Rodenberger going hard to the basket. He is stripped. Jefferson going coast to coast. Lays it up and in.
Yeah, this is that start game. You know, they're getting that tempo in their favor.
Yep.
And they're doing so much from their defense. 2 more points from the defense right there.
Ligon, instead of going hard to the iron, he stops and drains the 10-footer. This one goes down, but just his second basket of the night. We've got a timeout on the floor with 3:42 left to go third quarter. We'll break with them. Start 37, Defiance 23. It's the Grube Classic on DCTV Sports. .342 left to go third quarter. Coming back out of a First Insurance Group timeout, Brent Balbinot, Scoop Miller. DCTV Sports is here for both games, the Consolation Championship, which you're watching right now, and then about 15 minutes following this one, the championship of the 2023 Grube Classic. St. Francis and Anthony Wayne will have a Toledo flavor in the nightcap. Pass is a little lax, but nobody's there. Finally tracked down by Ja'Kai Jefferson. Boys start up by 6 at the half, has laid it on thick here in the third quarter. Josiah Jefferson on the drive, dishes into the paint again. That ball a little bit short. It's pinball. Got to secure it before you can run. Defiance finally does. Right across the timeline, dishes it off. Lopez almost lost it. Rodenberger will put up a 3. One and done.
Again, that's quickness and physicality to start to really force the Defiance to rush some shots. But again, you know the pressure's coming, and you just have that tendency to try to do things a little quicker.
Yep. Well, ball off the foot, and there's a rare start turnover here in the third quarter as Lopez outlets.
Boy, just a third start turnover tonight.
Coach Warren said they want 11 or less in every game. Lopez into the paint. Nice baseline move by Wright. Again, it's almost as if Start's defense is in Defiance's head. Instead of going straight up and strong, he double clutched as if he was anticipating a rotation or even contact. He did get the foul there, but there's a difference between shooting 2 and potentially a 3-point play.
You're exactly right, but if you isolate any combination down there, Start matched up with Defiance, the physicality of Start is really what's been the difference here. They're really kind of pushing Defiance around. I've seen it on the rebounds. I've seen it fighting for position. I've seen it on the dribble drives. So Defiance has to match that physicality. And that time it was a good start as they were able to at least penetrate to the lane. There's a good offensive rebound by Kellermeyer.
Out up top, Lopez dishes off. Kellermeyer, good ball movement. Castillo stops, free throw line extended. Oh, what a move without the basketball by Lopez. His first basket from the floor here in the second half.
Great job, and credit Castillo. That time he came to the jump stop. Start was overplaying, and what that does, it creates backdoor scenarios. And that time Lopez made a nice rim run, and Castillo rewards him. That's a big deuce here for Defiance.
Defiance needs some stops, down by 11. On the drive, Jefferson, Ligon, count it, and one coming.
Now you talk about taking the ball to the rack aggressively. That's exactly what we saw right there. And again, that physicality, I think, has really been the difference. But Ja'Kai Jefferson, he was not to be denied. Wow, that's a big move by the 5'8" sophomore.
Wright will take a seat. Checking in for the first time tonight, Josiah Schlatter for Defiance. As Ja'Kai Jefferson at the line to try and complete the 3-point play. He cannot. Ligon secures it. 13-point advantage for Start. reverse the ball. Lopez with a pump fake. Here's where he's been at his best. Near corner. Does Kellermeyer have one in him? No. Edwards being dogged right now and releases the basketball to a better handler. Coming up on a minute left to go third quarter, and it looks like Start happy to slow things down.
Yeah, right now, Coach Warm kind of pulling them out, looking for a dribble drive. They get it there, can't finish.
Wow, 3 white jerseys, and yet the one Start player is there, pulls it down, and Michael is fouled. Foul against Kellermeyer, his first.
But you saw Defiance once again, even though they had a numerical advantage, they're all kind of getting forced to no man's land, which is underneath the net. The only rebound you're going to get there is the one that goes in the hoop. There's a steal by Ligon there on the out of bounds.
Lopez. Posting up Kellermeyer. Castillo on the drive. Nice pump fake. Man, he's got that move down.
Oh, he's so strong, and he's not intimidated once he gets inside there. So he took his normal shot there. I like how he's able to jump stop, gather himself, pump faked a little bit. But a big hoop there to get the lead down to 11.
And now Start will work for the final shot of the quarter. Whoa, is that deflected? No, it wasn't. That's over and back. And that's just a brain cramp by Start.
Yeah, that time they got sloppy there. And when you're holding the ball up front, you still have to at least make the defense think you're going to the rack. When you're out there just kind of dribbling and looking side to side, defense has nothing to lose by going out there and pressuring. And that time just really kind of a cost mistake. We'll see if Defiance can capitalize here as we hit the final 10 seconds here, quarter 3.
8 seconds, 7. They got to get their offense moving. 5 seconds, and that's thrown away. We had all kinds of contact, and somebody loses a shoe. And Defiance gives the gift right back. I'll start with 3 seconds. It's more than enough time for a couple of dribbles, moving toward the basket, see what type of shot you can get. They're not going, they being Defiance, not going to put anybody on the ball. Jefferson crossing half court, not even close. Third quarter in the books, an 11-point advantage. Start 39, Defiance 28. Final 8 minutes put up on the scoreboard clock. We'll have it for you coming out of this first Insurance Group timeout. It is the 2nd annual Grube Classic, and you're watching it on DCTV Sports. Final 8 minutes put up on the scoreboard clock here. We welcome you back to the Dog Pound. It is the Consolation Championship at the 2023 Grube Classic. Brent Balbinot, Scoop Miller. Time for a quick peek at your Mark Moats Ford stat summary. Let's start with points. And my goodness, what a difference a night makes for the Spartans, and particularly Ja'Kai Jefferson. He scored 6 points in that third quarter. He now leads all scorers with 11. Josiah Jefferson with a basket. Matter of fact, all 5 starters in the books in that quarter. On the flip side, 4 of 5 for Defiance, but only 4 points, the max, that being Brogan Castillo. He's got 10 on the evening. What do you have for turnovers for both teams there, Scott?
Well, in the third quarter, Start turned it over 3 times, Defiance just 2, but for the game, Start has only 5 turnovers. Meanwhile, Defiance 10 turnovers on the night.
That's just backing your man down, and that is too tough by Josiah Jefferson.
Yeah, we talked about how Defiance kind of gets backed into no man's land. One more time there, the physicality knocked the defense all the way down underneath the hoop.
Castillo triple teamed in the high blocks. Top half of this 2-3 zone coming out. Ligon driving baseline, an ill-advised pass. It's deflected. It's 3-on-1. They'll give it up on the drive, double clutching. That doesn't fall.
A good hustle play by Lopez to be the trailer, come down with that defensive rebound.
Is Ligon going to launch a 3? He is, and got it! A Premier Bank 3. We'll see if that jump starts the Bulldogs as it cuts the deficit to 10.
Well, Ligon coming into the tournament just 3 for 26 beyond the arc, but that time, nothing but net. He had plenty of time. He was able to really take his time there, catch and shoot.
Jefferson trying to back down Lopez. Ligon is there. Big man running. 1-on-3. He's going to stop and pop and drains the 15-footer.
Well, he's feeling it that time. Instead of taking it to the rack, he just pulled up and knocked down the mid-range jumper. So a 5-0 run here. And now the lead down to single digits here for Start.
8-point advantage. Start will slow it down. Defiance trying to ratchet up their defensive pressure. Cutting into the high blocks. Good inside outside. The 3 off the mark. Did we have a foul? No. I thought for a second we had a whistle. Schlatter coming 3-on-3. Castillo on the drive. Are they going to call an offensive foul? No, a blocking foul. And Coach Warren can't believe it. Boy, that was a 50-50 call, but a little home cooking for the Bulldogs.
It really was. Not bad transition defense that time by Start. And I like how Start, though, anticipated that move there from Castillo. You know when he gets it, he wants to go to the rack, and that time gets called for the block.
A 3, great inside-outside as Lopez with a premier bank 3. It is now an 8-0 run, and a timeout being called by Start. 5:58 left to go in the ball game. We got a new one. The lead cut to just 5. We're back with the final 5:58 from the Grube Classic on DCTV Sports. Defiance has come out. Look, when your back's against the wall, you only have one of 2 options. That's fold like a house of cards or come out swinging. And that's exactly what the Bulldogs have done to start the final 8 minutes, as they have outscored Start 8-2. And it's actually been an 8-0 run as they've cut the deficit to 41-36. We welcome you back to the Consolation Championship of the Grube Classic. Brent Balbinot, Scoop Miller. Scoop, a lot of time left, but right now, several body blows landed, having Coach Tareem Warren for Start needing to give his team a breather.
Yeah, that was an excellent timeout by Coach Warren, because Defiance right now getting it done at both ends. Their defense has done an excellent job getting off to this 8-0 run here. But remember, they closed out the 3rd quarter on a 7-2 run the last 2.5 minutes.
Long 3, in and out. Castillo skies. Did he keep his dribble as he was falling down? What a play.
Wow, hustle play again by Castillo. And there's a 3-ball in the corner.
In and out. Boy, look at Castillo. And what do we got here? They're going to call a foul on Castillo. Good show of sportsmanship, helping Jefferson up. Whoa, and he makes a motion to the student body for Defiance. Boy, if Ligon had drained that 3, and let's be honest, that's not his shot, but the roof would have come off this place.
But the confidence is what I like. That time maybe he got a little bit too caught up in the emotion of it, but I like the confidence I'm seeing from Defiance. And now Start just 4 points in the last 6 minutes.
41-36. Look at Castillo coming out. Great defensive stance. The drive, that's a prayer, and Ligon cleans up. They've got numbers if they want to run. Lopez crosses over to the near corner. Schlatter walks the tightrope, but he keeps it in bounds. And that's just an ill-advised pass. But look at Kellermeyer. Are they going to call a foul? Out near half court. That's foul number 2 here in the 4th quarter. It's turning into a little bit of playground ball right now, Scoop.
That foul is going to go on Kellermeyer.
It is.
And
oh my goodness, his 2nd. Kellermeyer thought it was against Start, and so did Coach Lehman. Well, Josiah Jefferson will calm Start down. Boy, 2 golden opportunities each of the last 2 trips down for Defiance. Scoop, I don't want to call it a must-score situation. He's tripped down, and you can't have that. A breakdown on a nice backdoor baseline cut by Josiah Jefferson to end the run.
Yeah, we've seen Start run that play 3 times here tonight, and all 3 with the same result, an open backdoor lay-in. That comes at a great time for the Spartans.
Castillo on the drive around the world, and it kicks out. Coming up on the 4-minute mark. Start weathering just a violent explosion from Defiance to open up this 4th quarter. Still in command.
Yeah, until that last basket by the Spartans, a 15-4 Defiance run going back to about the 3-minute mark of quarter 3.
Step back 3 by Jefferson off the mark. Ligon with a 2-handed board. Are they going to tie him up, or is that going to be a foul? Looks like a foul charged to Pierce.
Tremendous job that time by Khalil Ligon that time. He got that rebound in traffic. He felt the pressure. A lot of guys will get careless with it. He was so strong with that basketball, forced the official to call the foul. And now each team with 2 fouls to give here in the final 3:46 before we hit the penalty.
Wright trying to check in, and he will get in before the play. Kellemeyer will take a seat for Defiance.
I like this. Right now, you're at that juncture. You're doing offense, defense, all you can here. Still down 3 possessions at 7 points, but plenty of time here for the Bulldogs to make another run.
Lopez in the high blocks to Castillo. Schlatter, his first shot of the game, and it's 3! A Premier Bank tray.
Now, great execution by the freshman Schlatter. That play was designed for him to get the handoff, but he recognized the defense was cheating that way. He stepped back, got a nice pass there behind the arc. And boy, what a huge Premier Bank 3.
Bulldogs to within 4. Defiance still needs stops. Up top, Jefferson almost lost it, got a little loose. Jefferson on the drive, middle of the paint, into Ligon. Is he tied up or fouled? The question is, or like the answer is, a Defiance foul.
And that'll be the 3rd Bulldog foul in just a second there on Castillo. But one more foul to give here for Defiance before the Spartans enter into the penalty.
Jefferson trying to back down Lopez. He's cut off. Start will back it out. Still trying to milk a little clock. Look at Castillo. This is a forward on a guard right now. On the drive, fading away, and that's just a pretty looking J by Eric Pierce.
Wow, what a job by Pierce. He made that look awfully easy.
Oh, Schlatter had a wide open look to the basket, and I think he second-guessed himself. Again, Scoop into the paint, anticipating contact, go up strong. Draw the foul, and I know that Bryn Lehman is going to talk to his guards about that. They do such a great job of being aggressive until the moment they meet some resistance. You got to be strong all the way.
Yeah, and this is why this game is big in a lot of ways. At first, the experience of playing this type of intensity and quickness, something that's hard to replicate. We saw in practice this week, were you here, Brent, when they had the 6 defenders
6 on 5, yes.
Against 5 to kind of give that extra pressure they knew they were going to receive here tonight.
Yep, they were working specifically against the press, now primarily for Anthony Wayne, but they knew Start would do the same, and they ran 6 defenders against 5 on the varsity to try and prepare for it. Just over 2 minutes left to go. A little shake and bake by Pierce. They'll kick it back out. We'll see if Start wants to really be aggressive here. Not to say that they won't look for offense away from the ball. They've been great at screening away. Cuts without the basket, and Coach Warren wants a timeout. We'll take one with them with exactly 2 minutes left to go in this ball game. Start 45, Defiance 39. We're back with the final 2 minutes on DCTV Sports. Well, in football, it'd be called the 2-minute warning, but we have exactly 2 minutes left to go in this ball game. Start hanging on, 45-39 over the host Defiance Bulldogs. It is the Consolation Championship at the 2023 Grube Classic. Defiance has outscored Start 11-6 in this fourth quarter right now, but Scoop, they have to get stops every trip down the court. Are we at the point now where you call every offensive possession a must-score possession if you're Defiance?
Boy, it's almost to that juncture. It's still just a two-possession game, but the way that Start defense has been, it feels like you have to score each and every time down. But remember, the next Defiance foul will put the Spartans at the charity stripe. Spartans have been very deliberate here, trying to spread things out, get the one-on-one matchup they want.
Jefferson on Lopez. Triple teamed, Michael in the high blocks. Good ball reversal. I thought for a second Pierce might release it, but he won't. On the left wing, Michael, and Start is backing it out. And there's the foul that will put them to the free throw line. That'll be Lopez's second.
Yeah, that time Defiance had a double team there to elbow and near steal, but credit Start. They had a couple opportunities to maybe force up a shot. I love how they kicked it out. They're able to take 21 seconds off the clock there before Defiance fouled. And now it's going to be up to the free throw stripe as the 5'9" senior Eric Pierce will step in to shoot a pair here.
And the first one's in and out. Now if you're Defiance, you've got to be thinking box out. You've done your job.
That's paramount. You just have to come down. You don't know if he's going to miss or not, but if he does, you have to get that defensive rebound.
He does, and they do not. A gift for Start, and now with 90 seconds left, how much longer before you have to foul if you're Defiance?
You can't waste any time. As soon as they get the right guy to give it up, you foul immediately.
This might be the guy. Lopez comes out and puts his hands on Pierce again. And that'll be his third.
Yeah, you don't want to put that 80-85% shooting line. It's worth it to wait 10 seconds to get the ball to maybe a 50% shooter. But again, the fact that there's no more one-on-ones in high school basketball, it takes a little bit of the pressure off. But we don't have to go back too far where Start missed both the front and back end before getting that big rebound. And that's 3 consecutive misses here in the last 20 seconds.
Well, it was like we were here just 15 seconds ago when I talked to you about boxing out, and they were unable to.
And Start has fouls to give, so no problem trying to go in the back here to get a board. And with that free throw there, it gets it up to 3 possessions, but still enough time for Defiance.
Right into the front court, kind of east-west. Defiance has got to move offensively. Schlatter with 1-3 under his belt so far, likewise Ligon, but that's not necessarily his game. The big man out up top, and Schlatter, check that. Lopez was fouled. Charge this one to Ja'Kai Jefferson.
Great defense that time by Start, and that foul doesn't hurt a bit. Still just a common foul. I think Defiance is just kind of standing around waiting for the 3. I think you need to attack, maybe get the end one, but you have to be able to score quickly here, set up some full court pressure.
Ligon takes the inbounds at the top of the key. Probably would be well served to get rid of it to a guard. Right on the drive. Boy, it looked like there might have been some contact, but that ball just rolled up his forearm. Either way, that was a must-score possession for Defiance, and they're forced to foul.
Yeah, that time Defiance is just trying to create something, and when you try to initiate that, a lot of times the official might let it go. There was a lot of contact, but now Start trying to milk this thing away at the line here. They'll once again get 2 shots.
Scoop, I know we've talked about it on a broadcast or two as Jefferson's first rims in and out. Rhett Boyd was in that seat last week, and he said he wanted your opinion. Longtime coach himself at Notre Dame High School in Toledo, he does not like the new rule. He thinks it affects strategy to the point where you reward bad free throw shooters knowing they're automatically going to get 2.
Yeah, I totally agree. It really has changed the game, and I don't like the change, but it's the way it's going to be, so you better get on board with it before you learn the hard way.
I'll tell Rhett, you said get on board with it. It'll be a rumble at the playground between those two. See if we can get a sponsor for that. 42 seconds left to go in this one. We'll take a quick timeout. Back with more of the Grube Classic right after this on DCTV Sports. Just an eyelash under 42 seconds left to go in this one, the Consolation Championship of the 2023 Grube Classic. Start 46, Defiance 39. Defiance won this last year in the inaugural Grube Classic. They're trying to avoid going 0-2 in season number 2, but their backs are against the wall. Must-score situation here for the Bulldogs. We'll see what Coach Lehman drew up coming out of this timeout. Double screen, and Wright can't use either of them. He almost lost the basketball. Lopez is fouled. That's arguably the best thing that could have happened for Defiance.
Yeah, that time they got bailed out. They set up the stagger screen there, but again, this start pressure has been awfully good. They know exactly where the shooters are at. They're not giving them space. They're going to try to make some of those secondary players beat them from deep.
Stutter stepping, backing out. Precious seconds ticking off the clock. Wright just kind of moving east-west. Lopez has got to go into the paint. Up and under move, just a bit short, follows, can't get it. Ball out of bounds, off a Schlatter. And that will probably be the final nail in the coffin.
Well, very similar to what we saw last night from Defiance. The effort in that fourth quarter, just tremendous. But when you dig yourself a hole like this, it's just too hard to get out of against quality teams that we see here in this Grube Family Classic tournament at the Dog Pound.
Right with the foul, his third. They'll walk to the other end of the gym to shoot a pair. Ja'Kai Jefferson is 0 for 1 tonight.
Now, right now, I think your start, you might as well get your guys off the free throw line. The next one puts Defiance at the line. So the last thing you want to do here is foul going for a rebound, but certainly about 15 things have to happen here, all against Start for Defiance to pull this out.
Start is 1 for 7 from the free throw line here in the fourth quarter. They have given Defiance every opportunity. That's now 2 for 8, and yet they're up by 8. Right, got to let it fly, and that's not going to catch anything, and that'll do it. Final 4 seconds. Are they going to show it? No, they're not. They're going to hot dog it and lay it in, and Pierce with a little salt in the wound, as the final score will be a 10-point victory. And Start and Defiance line up in the handshake line. So Defiance unable to pick up a victory in the Consolation Championship. Start now 6-1 on the season. The Bulldogs fall 2 games below 500 at 3-5. 49-39 your final. We'll take a quick timeout. Back with the Brunswick Eye and Contact Lens Center postgame show right after this on DCTV Sports. They've put a fresh 15 up on the scoreboard clock here at the Dog Pound, the championship game of the 2023 Grube Classic. Just around the corner, as it will be Anthony Wayne and Toledo St. Francis. The score in the Consolation Championship, Defiance threw everything but the kitchen sink, and maybe that included into it in the fourth quarter, but they just didn't quite have enough in a 49-39 loss to the Spartans. They dropped now to 3-5. The Spartans now at 6-1. Brent Balbinot alongside Scoop Miller as it is time for the Brunswick Eye and Contact Lens Center post-game show. And we start that off with a look at your Mark Moats Ford scoring stat summary. Let's start with points. Leading all players, 3 different players from 2 different teams, obviously only 2 on the court tonight, each with 12 points. Antonio Lopez for the Bulldogs, 6 in the first half, 6 in the second half. But Start had way more balance. As a matter of fact, instead of 12, I had to do a double take. Josiah Jefferson actually led all scorers. The point guard for Start came into last night averaging 18 points per ball game, was held to just 1 basket. Tonight, 14 points, getting things back on track. 12 for Eric Pierce, 12 for Ja'Kai Jefferson, 5 points for Connor Michael, and a deuce for Preston Edwards. They did have 2 bench points, that courtesy of an 18-footer from Joseph Stallworth in the first quarter. For Defiance, 2 players in double figures, as we mentioned, Antonio Lopez with 12. Brogan Castillo, again, another blue-collar effort tonight. He finishes with 10 points. 9 for Khalil Ligon, 5 for Jordan Wright. Brez Zippel had 8 last night. He averages 4, so he averages 4 points because he went scoreless tonight over the course of this 2-day tournament. 3 points off the bench for Josiah Schlatter. How did both teams take care of the basketball, Scoop?
Well, Start did a tremendous job for the game. The Spartans turned it over just 6 times. That'll win you a lot of basketball games. Meanwhile, Defiance, 13 turnovers. Unfortunately for the Bulldogs, a lot of those turnovers were live ball turnovers and ended up in runouts and transition points. But really the story of this game was that Spartan defense, and it starts with their physicality. They really gave Defiance fits. It was hard for the Bulldogs to get any type of second shot. It was hard for them to get easy looks throughout the court. Defiance was down 3 scores there with 30 seconds left. They forced Defiance to take precious time off the clock and really never allowed anything easy. So the Spartans get an impressive win. As you mentioned, Brent, now 6-1 on the young season.
We'll take a quick timeout courtesy of First Insurance Group. When we come back, we'll have our Steichman Automotive Player of the Game. Don't you go anywhere. You're watching DCTV Sports. Well, the Brunswick Eye and Contact Lens Center post-game show rolls on at the Dog Pound. Brent Balbinot alongside Scoop Miller. Time for our Steichman Automotive Group Player of the Game in a 49-39 Start win over Defiance. Look, we can look at a lot of different players, and especially for the visitors who have 3 in double figures tonight. But point guard Josiah Jefferson for the Spartans entered last night's contest, averaging 18 points per ball game. He was held to just 2. Tonight, I think he probably got a challenge, not that he needed it, but he finishes to lead all scorers with 14 tonight. And Scoop, he was just the straw that stirred the drink for Start this
No
evening.
question about it. He was really impressive here tonight. That's a completely different Start team when he's in the flow of things offensively. He looked really smooth. Defiance did all they could to shut him down. No secret, he came in averaging 18 points a game into this tournament. Brent Lehman had his guys ready, but you knew things might even out after a tough shooting night 24 hours ago. Josiah Jefferson was outstanding. I also liked him at the defensive end. He's the guy with his quickness and length. Boy, he's going to be he's a tough guy that can lock down on guys. He also has the ability to rebound. He can lead things in transition. He also sees the floor very well. I think that gets overlooked in that young man sometimes, but what a great performance by Jefferson tonight. He certainly earned it.
Final score, Start 49, Defiance 39. The Bulldogs fall to 3-5. The Spartans at 6-1. We're going to take a quick timeout. When we come back, we'll hit the reset button. The Estel Chevrolet Cadillac pregame show for the championship game of this year's Grube Classic. Again, Toledo St. Francis taking on Anthony Wayne. We'll have it for you on the other end of this. You're watching DCTV Sports. Welcome you back to the Dog Pound. A good aerial shot there from one of our corner cameras. We're a little over 5 minutes away from the championship tip-off for the 2023 Grube Classic here in Defiance. Brent Balbinot alongside Scoop Miller, as it will be the St. Francis Knights at 5-1, taking on the Anthony Wayne Generals. They knocked off Defiance in a physical ball game last night. They are 2-4. Again, somebody's going to pick up the win, and just as importantly, a little championship hardware to put in their trophy case back in their school lobby. Jamie Kekmerick leading the Knights at 5-1, a different look than what they've had in the past, Scoop. Some of those smaller players, some of those get out and goes. He's got a 6'8", a 6'11", and a 6'6" post. They want to slow it down, get a few more interior touches this season. On the flip side, Josh Arthur's Generals, nobody over 6'4", but an incredibly physical ball club. So, does speed and finesse or just brute strength win the night tonight?
That's going to be the question of the day, but I'm looking for Anthony Wayne here to maybe find a way to pull the upset, I'll say, because this has been a nice rivalry, although these teams have only met a couple times in the last 5 years, and they've split that series with last year St. Francis knocking off the NLL champs Anthony Wayne. So you know that's still in Anthony Wayne's head a little bit. They want to right the ship, but they're going to have their hands full. You mentioned that size and a completely different St. Francis team that wants to get into the half court, that wants to pound it inside. We'll see if the athletes from Anthony Wayne can match up.
And we saw the Grinch in the house for a second. He has since left, so I'm not sure if that bodes well for one team or the other here this evening. Let's go ahead and take a look at our Baker Schindler Company starting lineups. First for the Knights at 5-1, and no surprises from what we saw last night. Jamison Heck getting the starting nod at the point. The 6'2 junior, he's averaging 13.5 points, but just as impressive, scooped nearly 3 assists per ball game. He was really the court general last night. He kept things under control, especially when Start tried to make that run.
Yeah, he's a tough guard. He brings so much to the table out there. I mean, his numbers are phenomenal. Great defender, sees the floor well, can score points, but he's also that calming presence, that leader out there that they need.
At the off guard, it is Raheem Brown. Again, Brown standing in at 6 foot. He averages nearly 11 points and 4 rebounds per game. He had 10 points in last night's win. Elvis Soroka getting the starting nod at the swing. Again, he's 5'8 and a senior. He was just kind of journeyman-like last night, played some good defense. Alan Horton, 6'8. Again, 00, the sophomore, averaging 18 points. Check that, 7 points and 8.6 rebounds per ball game. He had 8 last night. He was our player of the game in that contest. And then Vince Ferguson got into some foul trouble in that third quarter. The 6'3 power forward, averaging 8.5 points per ball game. On the flip side, for the Generals of Anthony Wayne, led by head coach Josh Arthur, Blake Robeson getting the starting nod at the point. Robeson finished with 6 last night. At the off guard, it would be Grant Kinney, number 11. Kinney, again, averaging 4.2 points, 23 minutes per game, though. Kinney, a 6'4 junior. Hayden Bender helped salt the game away from the free throw line last night. Bender, a 6'1 senior. Matter of fact, he went 7 for 8 from the free throw line in the fourth quarter to help salt last night's victory away over Defiance. Jackson Urinovich, he's just a sophomore at 6'2", but he's got game. Keep an eye on this youngster. He finished with 5. He plays tremendous defense. And then, of course, Mr. Everything, Griffin Pike. Pike, 6'5", and a senior in the middle. Pike averages 16.8 points per ball game. He averages nearly 6 boards. Last night, he finished with 14. Buzzer sounds. That's a look at your Baker Schindler Company starting lineups. We'll take one last break of the Estill Chevrolet Cadillac pregame show. It'll be tip-off when we come back on DCTV Sports. Estill Chevrolet Cadillac pregame show. Putting a wrap on it here as we are getting set for tip-off championship game of the 2023 Grube Classic. Anthony Wayne and St. Francis, a Toledo flavor here this evening. They have unfurled the colors over center court, so there will be a national anthem, and that is courtesy of the Defiance Elks Lodge number 147. The scene at the dog pound here. I thought we might have a few more for this one, but still as it stands, Nobody wants to go into the extended Christmas break scoop on a loss. You want some wind in your sails. We expect both teams are going to leave it all on the court here tonight. I think this is Midnight Snack doing the national anthem. Midnight Snack, the a cappella men's quartet with our national anthem, brought to you by Defiance Elk Lodge, number 147. Midnight Snack with the national anthem. They are a local favorite. I'm sure most of our viewers, especially the man to my left, have seen the movie Hoosiers. That group kind of has that sound. You remember right before the championship game, they showed the a cappella boys quartet kind of doing it how they sung it back in the 40s. These guys have that same feel to them.
Yeah, I've heard these guys before. They do such an excellent job, and it does have that little Hoosier feel there back at Hinkle Fieldhouse.
Again, our national anthem courtesy of the Defiance Elks Lodge number 147. We've given you the Baker Schindler Company starting lineups. The tip will be courtesy of F&M Bank in just a minute or two. Do you want to acknowledge the officiating crew here for game number 2, the championship game? Barry Mag, Ryan Dannon, and Ty Schnitke. This looks like a younger crew. You're familiar with at least 2 of them, is that correct? Or are you familiar with all 3?
Yes, I'm familiar with 2 of the 3 anyways, and they do an excellent job. In fact, a couple of these guys have done state finals games just in the past year, so top-notch crew here at the Dog Pound tonight.
Anthony Wayne, their physicality, really, and that's saying something against a Defiance team that prides itself on being physical. They just out-physicaled them last night. On the flip side, lots of height, lots of length for St. Francis. It will be an interesting contrast in styles here this evening. We'll see. Does this game favor one or the other, or is tempo going to be more important?
I think whoever can kind of present their will to the other is going to have that edge, because you do have contrasting styles. And, if you look back to last night, Anthony Wayne looked like the best 1-4 team in the nation. I mean, they just did so many things well. You talked about their physicality, but they've got all the pieces of the puzzle. They've got outside shooting. They've got athletic individuals that can go to the rack. They certainly rebounded very well for not being the tallest team in the 419 area for sure.
Well, you're not going to have a lot of eye-popping stats in a game where the final score is 45-36. Anthony Wayne only had 1 player in double figures. It was Griffin Pike with 10. Hayden Bender was close, although he had 7 of 8 free throws in that 4th quarter to help get him to his 9 points. Jurinovich had 6 boards to go along with 5 points. So it'll be very interesting to see if one of those stars for Anthony Wayne steps up, or maybe somebody gets laid off. Somebody that I don't want to say is disrespected, but you often see it. We're going to make you prove to us that we need to come out and guard you. Is it going to be a surprise tonight, or do you see one of the usual suspects playing the big role this evening?
Well, I think both coaches are certainly going to try to take that away. Now, it's going to start with being interesting to see what Coach Cash Merrick has up his sleeve to try to slow down Griffin Pike. I think that could very well be the telltale here tonight.
It'll be Horton for St. Francis, Kinney for Anthony Wayne. Horton with about a half a foot advantage, and no surprise, the Knights win the tip. The F&M Bank tip. We are underway in the championship game of the Grube Classic. Top of the key, and it's not taking them long. Heck with a 3, and underneath here comes Robeson. Up top, Pike's going to get his touches tonight. It's just a matter of how effective he can be. And Anthony Wayne slowing things down. That's the style for really both of these teams here tonight. Unlike what we saw Start want to do last night against St. Francis and just unable to do, much like they did tonight against Defiance. Long 3 off the mark by Urinovich. Offensive board. They'll kick it back out to him. I almost get the feeling that this is going to be a race to 30 points this evening.
Well, both these teams certainly can be very disciplined in the half court. We saw that last night. I like how Anthony Wayne's trying to get everyone involved early. It's always nice when you get your hands on the basketball your first time down.
Urinovich challenges the 6'8 Horton, and he gets a facial. Here come the Knights at the other end of the court. They will slow it down. Brown backs it out. The transition D by Coach Arthur and company. Raheem Brown, the only Knight in double figures last night. He had 10. Horton trying to establish a post presence, but right now his hands are down. He's not demanding the basketball. They'll go out up top, and the banks are open late on a Friday night. My goodness.
Yeah, the Premier Bank is still open there, as we saw it right there. The 3-ball off the window. Must have been the ATM 24-hour machine, but either way, they strike first.
Trying to counter at the other end, and that's a long 2 by Kinney. .546 just underway here. Is that okay? We'll double check. I think they might. There we go. They've got to adjust the scoreboard. They gave the last basket to St. Francis. I'm like, okay, are my lion eyes deceiving me here? But now they've got it right. Tied up at 3 apiece. And it was a 3. I thought it was a long 2. Steal, turnover, fast break opportunity. Ferguson hard to the iron, and he finishes the fast break layup.
It's always great to get points from your defense. The game's first turnover ends up in 2 easy points for the Knights.
So make it 5-3. Another long one. Pike feeling it, and did that catch anything? Was it partially blocked?
It was partially blocked, but he tried to double clutch kind of after it. I believe Anthony Wayne will retain possession. That time, excellent half-court man-to-man defense by the Knights, forcing a tough shot.
Robeson takes the inbounds and immediately puts up a 3. Good weak side rebound by Ferguson. And for a big man, he's got handles. And look at this. He's going to go coast to coast. Dishes back to Brown. Horton. Well, I can understand Kinney's frustration thinking he had position, but sometimes when you give up almost a foot, you can still have good position and not get the board.
Yeah, that time really it was an excellent check out, but it's tough to check out 6'11" with long arms. And that time, even though he had great positioning, just able to use that long reach to tip it back out to himself.
Coach Arthur is lobbying the official on the far side saying, hey, think about that next time, because it's bound to happen more than once in this ball game. Foul win against Kinney. And wow, quick shot, I should say, is up, and it's a 5-point advantage.
Another Premier Bank 3, this time by Jamison Heck. I love the pump fake that got Griffin Pike out of position. Left him wide open there for that 3-ball.
Bender, a rare touch. A lot of action in between the circles for Anthony Wayne as they trail by 5. Far corner. Robinson thought about driving, and he is pickpocketed by Brown. 1-on-2, tried to slow it down, and out of bounds off of Anthony Wayne. You can't fault the effort, though, from Will Robinson.
Right now, St. Francis, exactly what they need to do. They're taking care of the basketball. That's the one area I think teams can maybe exploit them in. There's a long three by Heck that's going to rim out. Robeson with the rebound brings it up quickly.
Heck got back, though, quickly on defense, and he's going to be guilty of reaching in. His first.
Yeah, Heck needs to be careful. You know, he's a guy they need out there on the floor for multiple reasons. And that time, a little bit too much aggressiveness, you know, 35 feet from the rack.
The inbounds coming up on 3.5 minutes left to go first quarter. Oh, Robeson, nice job to move, nice dish, wide open. Would Robinson have been better served to use the backboard there?
Boy, I think so, and there's a nice pick and a run-out opportunity for the Generals.
Bender gives it up, they get it right back to him, but quick hands by the Knights. We've got bodies flying everywhere. Who's open? Near corner, Robinson challenges, and he draws the foul. Horton, his first. Team foul number 2.
Great job by Will Robinson playing downhill. You know, that's going to be so important because the Knights, you know, they have that ability to get into you. Their physicality has been something that's been impressive. And there you see Robinson connect on the first of 2.
He is a 67% free throw shooter on the young season. Trying to hit both here. And he does. That pulls the Generals to within 3. Brown, good perimeter passing. Heck tried to find Horton, and a whistle down low. That was one of those 50-50 calls. They're going to charge this one to Kinney, and that's his second. But what Kinney did right there with Horton putting everything he had on him, Kinney just took a step back. Horton hits the deck. He's going to have to take a seat with 2 fouls, but that probably could have gone either way, could it not?
Yeah, I think so. Certainly a lot of contact, jockeying for position down there.
Really a no call. But as it stands, is this one a lazy inbounds pass stolen away? A spot up for 3. Look at that. Robinson with a Premier Bank 3 has just tied this ball game.
Oh, nice job there with the steal and the pull up there. But now 5 of the Anthony Wayne points coming off of St. Francis turnovers.
And we got a whistle away from the ball. And a foul. Who's this one on? Is this Anthony Wayne? This is going against Mason Taylor. They are having a handful and then some trying to guard the 6'8" Allen Horton in the post. They're trying to be physical with him. Bounce pass comes to him. He'll drop it into the middle of the paint and gets the friendly roll on the baby hook shot.
Oh, great execution off the baseline out of bounds. Just a no-no to let Allen Horton get the ball deep in the paint. There's a reason he's shooting north of 60% from the field. It's shots like that.
Pike with only 1 shot so far tonight. He challenges Horton and he draws the foul.
No, right now, if you're a player, you really have to adjust to the way the game's been officiated. We've seen for 3 games, it's been almost a bloodbath. They're letting teams play, and this one's being called a little bit tighter. So as a player, you have to recognize that, make some adjustments. I like what Pike did right there. He took it to the rack, drew the contact. First free throw comes up empty.
Pike, a 59% free throw shooter. It's I'm really looking at his numbers across the board, Scoop, the Achilles heel in his game as he hits his second to pull the Generals back to within a point. And with 2 fouls, Allen Horton will head to the bench. So you sit 6'8" down and bring in his older brother Logan Horton, who's 6'11". No loss in height. Brown on the drive, fades away off the square, it pops out. Horton with the board. Can't find the baby hook shot.
Boy, both those shots were halfway down but rimmed out. Here's
look at Robeson! That's just great court vision.
It really was. No one picked him up. He recognized it right away. And a breakdown in transition defense by the Knights, but again, just another heady play from the Generals, who now take the lead.
Defense ratcheting up on the ball for Anthony Wayne. Ferguson will back it out with just under 90 seconds left to go first quarter. First lead of the evening for Anthony Wayne. Horton in the low blocks. Well, that's a tough fadeaway for Heck. One and done. And look who's got the ball. Shortest man on the court. Pike. Does he want to make a move? He'll surrender it. Robeson using his screen. Stops and pops. Shot looked a little flat. Johnny on the spot. But again, 6'11" sends it right back at you. A scrum in the middle of the paint. And a 30-second timeout being called by Anthony Wayne and Coach Arthur. Man, it has been physical. And despite the low score, it has been up and down. We'll take a quick break with 55 and 2/10 seconds left to go in the first quarter. Anthony Wayne up by a point on DCTV. They get a good look at the St. Francis bench as they trail Anthony Wayne by a point, 11-10. Generals will inbound on the baseline with 55 seconds left to go. They run an inbounds play to get it to Pike. He's going to challenge the 6'11" Horton and draws the foul. Well, it doesn't matter if it's been the 6'8" Allen Horton or the 6'11" Logan Horton. Clearly, Anthony Wayne has a game plan, and that's to take it right to the Knights' big men.
Yeah, I like their aggressiveness right now. That time a design play to get Pike going to the rack there. And once he got there, he's met by the 6'11" Horton, but that did not faze Pike at all. He took it up strong, draws the contact.
Well, again, Pike stands in, at least as far as the roster is concerned, at 6'5", Horton at 6'11", and I'll guarantee you, at best, they weigh the same. Pike is a thick young man as he drains his second free throw.
And right now, a 9-2 run for Anthony Wayne.
Ball stolen away. It's a 2-on-1, and Robeson will elect to back it out. And we'll see if Anthony Wayne wants to work for the final shot of the quarter. Checking into the ball game, number 10, Ashton Bostelman. Saw some minutes late in last night's win. 10 seconds, 9 seconds. Now they'll set their offense in motion. Bostelman, bounce pass, low blocks. Taylor kicks it back out, long three, off the mark. We've come to the end of the first 8 minutes of play. Wow. Well, who would have thought, especially the way this one started, but Anthony Wayne showing a lot of grit as they take a 2-point advantage into the second 8 minutes. We'll have it for you when we come back to the Dog Pound. You're watching the championship game of the 2023 Grube Classic on DCTV Sports. Second 8 minutes put up on the scoreboard clock as we welcome you back to the Dog Pound. It is the championship game of the 2023 Grube Classic. We'll have a look at your Mark Moats Ford stat summary. Let's go ahead and take a look at the scoring totals first. 4 of 5 St. Francis starters in the scoring column. Jamison Heck and Elvis Soroka, each with a 3. A deuce apiece for Allen Horton and Vince Ferguson. On the flip side for the Anthony Wayne Generals, how about this? Off the bench, 4 points for Will Robinson, including a pair of free throws to lead the way. Griffin Pike 2 for 4 from the charity stripe. Grant Kinney drained a 3. He's in a little bit of foul trouble with a pair. And starting point guard Blake Robeson with a deuce. As always, Scoop keeps track of the turnovers. What do you have for both teams?
Well, in the first quarter, St. Francis turned it over 4 times. Meanwhile, Anthony Wayne just 2 turnovers. Something to note, off those 4 St. Francis turnovers, Anthony Wayne was able to generate 7 points off those turnovers. So that kind of ignited their rally there. They closed out the quarter on a 10-2 run after trailing 8-3. They now enjoy a 13-10 mark here. 11 seconds in. And initially, they only put 1 point on the board for those 2 Griffin Pike free throws.
I had 2
they
down.
They corrected it right at the end of the quarter break. So that is the right score. It is the correct one.
Ferguson fades away from the charity stripe. And how about this? The shorter general lineup is outboarding the Knights right now.
Well, that's what impressed me last night. And sometimes when you have a quick team, you don't have that height. You need all 5 guys to go to the glass, and sometimes that makes it a little difficult. And right now, Anthony Wayne doing a great job on the interior, doing a great job on the glass.
Brown knocks the interior pass out of the hands of Bender, and they're going to call him for a foul. So his first team foul, number 1. Bender smacks the ball in his hands. To the far corner, Robinson. And is this a 2-3 here? Nope, sagging man-to-man by the Knights. Nice bounce pass, good movement without the basketball, and almost thrown away. Crossing over, Bender's going to take it into the paint. I'm not sure if he was trying a wraparound pass or the ball just popped out of his palm and he was trying for a little George Gervin finger roll, but either way, it's out of bounds off the Generals.
Well, initially, I think he was trying to get that little reverse layup with the left hand, but when you see 6'11", you kind of change your plans. When he tried to wrap around, I think he lost control.
Heck, driving baseline, kicks it to the far corner. Good look for 3, but it's a bit short by Soroka. Ferguson with a strong rebound. Crossover by Heck. He's going hard to the iron. It's just a bit short. And now we have a whistle, and I think that's a frustration foul.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be number 2 there on Jamison Heck. So that's a big play right there. We talked about he needs to be on the floor here for the Knights. And right now he's going to take a quick breather here with those 2 fouls.
Checking in for the Saints, number 30, Grayson Pollock. Robeson in between the circles. Jurinovich in the high blocks, but he backs out. What exactly is Anthony Wayne running here? Drive to the high blocks. Now the motion starts again away from the basket. They were kind of stagnant. Now they're spreading the floor. Scoop, break this one down for us. They're going almost 4 flat on the baseline. Trying to check and see the motion as a nifty move by Jurinovich as he challenges the 6'11" Horton and finishes.
Well, they moved that from a baseline offense. They went to a 1-4 high right there, and credit to Jurinovich that time. An excellent move.
Well, the shot is short. Anthony Wayne's bench wanted an offensive foul against Soroka. And I don't think they're going to get it. Instead, it's going against Robeson, his first.
We saw St. Francis go through a scoring drought just a night ago, where both teams really struggled to put the ball in the hole. But right now, they've been stuck on 10 points for quite some time.
I was going to say, for a 6'11" post, now he is drawing a double team, but they are having all kinds of problems getting the ball into the paint. This one kicked back out, a lot of congestion on the far side. Nifty 360 spin move, and what a roll. They're going to count it for Soroka, and one coming.
Wow, that's a big time shot by Elvis Soroka. That time well defended. He just tried to create and kind of threw one up. He did get fouled on it, but somehow that ball found its way in the hole. And boy, that's a big one there for the Knights as they were on a drought. But Soroka, you know, he's a guy, he's been a 3-year starter for Coach Kaczmarek. You know, last year he averaged 7.5 points a game. He's a guy that can go off at double digits anytime. So that may jumpstart that young man right there. A needed 3-pointer to get this down to 2 points.
15-13. Still a lot of time left to go in this first half. Pike, his touches have been rare. His shots have been even more so. Jurinovic drop steps into the paint. I tell you what, as this kid grows and gets thicker and most likely taller, look out Northern Lakes League. He's going to be something.
Well, I loved him last night, and he's been just as impressive tonight. And you saw that little nifty pump fake to the corner, and what that did, that drew the big man away from the paint and allowed him to get that shot to go. So great job there by the sophomore Jackson Jurinovic.
Foul will go against Mason Taylor as he's doing battle with the 6'11" Horton in the low blocks. And do we have a technical? Looks like it. Wow. A technical foul. And that will send Soroka to the stripe as he misses his first. Did you see what led to that? I thought it was a common foul, but clearly not.
And remember that the technical not only is a player foul, but it also goes on your team foul total. So a big play, the Knights will get the ball back.
Did you see what precipitated the technical, Scoop? Right now, Coach Arthur getting an explanation. Doesn't seem to be too upset. Heck, he doesn't look upset at all by that picture.
It must have been, they have not marked it on the board.
No. So 17-14, long board, and here's a rare fast break opportunity for the Generals. Pike stripped from behind, fouled from behind. This one will go against Pollock.
And that'll be the third team foul against the Knights.
Well, right now, Pike, who averages nearly 17 a ball game, has 3, and they've all come from the charity stripe. The inbounds, lobbed into the paint. Tough move by Kinney, he'll kick it back out. Pike with a 3. That flattens dead off the heel of the iron. Look at the effort. Who's it off of? I don't think the officials know. The sideline official, oh boy, this is going to draw an upset crew regardless of who. The baseline official clearly didn't see it. And what's the call? General's ball, and Coach Kaczmarek is not a happy individual. Oh my. The inbounds, kind of setting a mini screen, quick 3. Ferguson, boy, look at that with one hand.
He's got so much strength. He's that lockdown defender, that great rebounder. Plus, he can be a scoring machine.
Stop and pop from the charity stripe, nothing doing for Soroka. And again, one and done. Scoop, I don't know, maybe I shouldn't be surprised with as many blue jerseys as Logan Horton is drawing, but he's just not getting any post touches at all this evening.
Yeah, they want to take that away. That's plain and simple. They're sandwiching him. They're fronting him. They're getting help from the backside. They're trying to eliminate any balls down in the low block. And there the big man comes up with the rebound.
Bender got a good look, and especially with them drawing Horton away from the lane, they couldn't take advantage of it. Now under 3.5 left to go in the first half. St. Francis will slow it down as Pollock pops out at the top of the key. Cut off in the low blocks. Good on-ball defense by Bender, and that's just a, did he even see the rim? Was his back completely to the basket by Raheem Brown?
Yeah, sweet move by Brown. You can see why he's averaging double digits coming in. He received a nice pass, but I love the cut on the baseline. No hesitation. Wow, that's one for the highlight reel. That drops that Anthony Wayne lead to just a single point.
17-16. Horton is out. Sophomore Jermaine Polk is in. Thick young man, but not as tall. Bounce pass, low blocks. Pollock reaches in from behind.
Well, the Knights have gone to very aggressive trapping zone defense, but that time Anthony Wayne able to get a nice ball reversal. The rotation just a little bit tardy there for St. Francis. And that's the last foul to give by the Knights. From here on out, both teams will be in the penalty.
Pollock will check out with his second foul. Jurinovich, mouthpiece is half out. Pike almost out to half court. Anthony Wayne taking a little air out of the ball, trying to stretch this Knights defense. Kinney, that's a mismatch there in favor of Anthony Wayne. He'll lean in. Oh, look at Jurinovich flying out of nowhere to get the tap in.
Tremendous play there by Jurinovich. So that time a box and one defense on Pike in the box. No one checked out. Jurinovich took advantage.
Soroka, that ball might have been partially blocked. Polk sees this one blocked out of bounds. Again, sideline versus baseline official looking at each other, trying to determine the call. And the ball floating down the tunnel. Somebody going to help him? Both clubs catching a breather. Whose possession is it? It looks like it will remain the Knights' ball. Soroka smacks the ball in his hands, checking in, spotting up for three. Austin Urban misses everything. 19-16. Generals with the lead in the ball. Pike gives it up. Bender scoreless. Is the only starter yet to get into the books for the Generals. And are they going to spread the court here? That's a mismatch. Nice drive and dish. Great ball movement. Pike for three. Goes begging off the right side. Ball tapped out to Jurinovich off of Kudzia. And what's the call?
That time a foul on the rebound, so Anthony Wayne catches a break, as that's going to put the Generals in the penalty. And now we're going to see Kudzia at the stripe for two. First one up and in, so great job by the sophomore.
They're finally putting the foul up. It's on Soroka, his first. I'm not sure if there's problems with the board, but they're not staying up. The player foul numbers are not staying up on the board, so I'm not sure. I'm going to do my best to listen to PA announcer Josh Bush just to confirm everything, as this one's in and out. So the lead remains 4, 20-16, $1:20 left to go in the first half. Heck scored a three early and has been quiet ever since.
A solid man-to-man pressure by the Generals. They've done a great job kind of winning those one-on-one battles on the perimeter, not allowing to get beat off the dribble.
On the drive, Soroka kicks it back out. Heck for three. Whistle sounds, and it looks like this one's going against quite possibly Urban, number 11.
And once again, with the Generals in the penalty, they'll walk down to this end trying to stretch that 4-point lead. Two more free throws coming up for Jackson Jurinovich.
Jurinovich will get a pair. He's quietly having himself a nice game. He's a 73% free throw shooter. Sophomore, a little long on his first one. Well, the board has the foul against Urban, and that's his third for St. Francis. Second is up, and he over-adjusted, leaving it short. Well, under a minute left to go in the half, down by 4, and St. Francis, they're going to set something up, or will they work for the final shot of the half? Looks like their offense is in motion. Ferguson on the drive. Boy, lots of contact. Muscles it up a little too strong. And now Anthony Wayne could work for the final shot if they so choose.
Well, I think you would right here. The fact that St. Francis will get the ball to start the second half. This will guarantee you're going to go in with the lead. If you can execute here, boy, this will be little exclamation point on the second quarter for Anthony Wayne.
Robinson testing the waters. Now picks up his dribble. 1 second. This is a desperation three. Anthony Wayne never really ran an offense coming down the court. And both clubs will head to their respective locker rooms. We are at the intermission. They've reset the board. I believe it was 20-16, correct? 20-16, Anthony Wayne with the lead. We will take a quick timeout, a First Insurance Group timeout. When we come back, it's the Midwest Community Federal Credit Union halftime show. Don't you go anywhere. You're watching the championship game of the Grube Classic on DCTV Sports. Welcome you back to the Dog Pound as we are at the intermission, the championship game of the 2023 Grube Classic. Brent Balbinot alongside Scoop Miller. It is time for the Midwest Community Federal Credit Union halftime show. And with that, let's dive into the stats. We've got a summary courtesy of Mark Moats Ford. Let's start with points and a situation here where offense has been at a premium, but a little bit more balance for Anthony Wayne. As we take a look, leading all scores, it will be Elvis Soroka for St. Francis. He's got 7 points, including 4 of those coming in the second quarter. 3 points for starting point guard Jamison Heck. He drained a 3 to begin the game, and he's been quiet ever since. And then a deuce apiece for off guard Raheem Brown, who had 10 last night, and a deuce for Vince Ferguson. On the flip side, Jackson Urinovich, the sophomore power forward, with 6 points to lead Anthony Wayne. 3 points apiece for starting center Griffin Pike, who had 14 last night. He averages nearly 17 a ball game. Grant Kinney with 3. 5 points off the bench for Will Robinson, including a 3, and then a deuce for starting point guard Blake Robeson. Scoop, what do you have for turnovers?
Well, for turnovers in the opening half, Anthony Wayne committed just 4 turnovers, 2 in each quarter, so great job by the Generals protecting the ball. St. Francis, after having 4 turnovers in the opening quarter, turned over just 1 time in that second quarter. Neither team really able to score points off turnovers in the second quarter. But I think both coaches may be pleased with the ball handling, but certainly St. Francis not happy with their offensive production. They really just could not seem to buy a basket, scoring only 6 points in that second quarter.
Well, and again, and I stand corrected, 2 points for starting center Alan Horton, but between the 6'8 starter Alan Horton and his 6'11 backup brother Logan Horton, just 1 basket between the two of them. Anthony Wayne has really put the height advantage for St. Francis in check in that first 6
Yeah, they really negated that size advantage that we knew St. Francis was going to have coming in. So I think that's probably the one thing that St. Francis has to do a little better job of, trying to find ways to get some isolations down there in the low post with the big men. They just did not have enough touches. The result, just 16 first half points.
20-16 our score. We're going to take a quick timeout. Back with more of the Midwest Community Federal Credit Union halftime show. You're watching the championship game of the 2023 Grube Classic on DCTV Sports. We are 16 minutes away from somebody picking up some championship hardware tonight, the second annual Grube Classic. Last season was the inaugural, and Defiance won both games, so they kept the trophy home. Defiance going 0-2 at this year's Invitational, so it's going to either St. Francis or Anthony Wayne. But we've talked about this before. We had Rick Small on from Grube Marketing last night. They're nationally recognized. They stretch from coast to coast, but they are locally rooted. And they started this. They were just looking for something to do, not as in casually, but it kind of got born out of, I think, an idea written on a napkin. And next thing you know, this is the start of something that I think is going to be very special in the next, 5, 10, 15 years.
I totally agree. And Defiance is a really special community, and Steve Grube kind of putting this together, just kudos to him and his staff, because they are such a community organization and looking a way to give back. And what a way to do it here, bringing in some great talent from Northwest Ohio. And this tournament, you mentioned it earlier, Brent, I think this has the potential to grow, because there's going to be a lot of teams knocking on the door saying, hey, what can we do to get in there?
Yes.
We want to see this type of competition in this type of venue. It's only going to help us prepare for the stretch run this year.
Again, excuse me. Again, a 4-team tournament here as this grows. I don't know if I talked with Coach Bryn Lehman about this earlier this week. He said they'd like to get another team down around the Columbus area, although it is a little bit of a haul. They had Olentangy up last year, but that team stayed overnight in a hotel with it being a long drive. But you've got the likes of Lima, possibly maybe a Fremont Ross. They want bigger schools involved in this. He even said, you know what, we're not opposed to going across the state border and grabbing a team out of Indiana.
Well, that was my thought, too. You got Fort Wayne. It's really, 35 minutes down the road
Max.
Here, and a lot of great teams, obviously, from the Hoosier State to pick from as well. So I see, again, a lot of teams wanting to get in this thing. And the thing about this Grube Family Holiday Classic, they're doing it the right way.
Yes.
You know, they're treating these spectators, the kids especially, in a great way. They've just had a great atmosphere, and what can you say about Jerry Beauty and his staff? Just always roll out the red carpet for everyone.
The positive adjectives for Coach Beauty and company, there are not enough of them. We're 2.5 minutes away from resuming play here. It's a 4-point Anthony Wayne advantage, 20-16 over St. Francis. A lot of ball left to be played. Somebody will be taking home some championship hardware. Stick around and find out who it is. We'll have it for you right after this. You're watching DCTV Sports. Well, the warm-up's finishing. Ball's being put back in the cages, and we are 45 seconds away from resuming play in the championship game of the 2023 Grube Classic. Anthony Wayne, I hate the phrase, you're better than your record, because you look at it from two different vantage points, Scoop. You are what your record says you are, and Anthony Wayne is 2-4. However, I don't think anybody would argue that this team, just ask Defiance last night, St. Francis so far through the first 16 minutes here, this general squad is clearly better than a 2-4 record indicates. Now the question is, can they finish it out?
No, you're right. You can't deny that. That's a really good team despite their record. But, you know, one thing to talk about, the NOL, you know, this is a monster conference from head to toe. There are no off nights. And they do a great job of beefing up their non-league schedule as well. But if you think about it, Anthony Wayne, in their conference NOL, that team has won 16 games and lost just 5 here this season against non-league opponents. So they're contesting the big boys. They're having a lot of success. And right now, just 16 minutes away from picking up what would be a great championship here at the Holiday.
Scoop getting choked up at the thought of a championship. St. Francis is going to have something to say about it, though. So they open up with a good look, but again, one and done. The much shorter Generals outboarding the Knights so far.
Yeah, that quickness and their ability to send all 5 guys to the glass has really paid dividends here tonight.
Anthony Wayne going to be very conscientious with the basketball. Slowing it down. Same starting 5 that began the game for both teams starting the second half. Heck, Brown, Soroka, Horton, and Ferguson for St. Francis. Low post, Jurenovic goes up strong. A little too much so as Heck cleans up on the weak side. It'll be Robeson, Kinney, Bender, Jurenovic, and Pike. Both clubs with looks, both clubs yet to break the basket here in the second half. Robeson stops, free throw line extended. Far corner. Oh, nice movement by Jurenovic. Nice movement without the ball. The extra pass. I think maybe Kinney probably took one too many dribbles there, and here's a rare fast break opportunity at the other end. Brown lays it up and in.
And great job by St. Francis. One of the few times tonight they've got points from their defense, but that time it pays off, and they make it a one-possession game.
Robeson breaks the press, kicks it back out to Kinney. Pike with an open 3. Can't find the range. Potty's flying everywhere. Here comes Soroka. Stops and pops from 15. We're tied.
Great recognition by Elvis Soroka that time that Anthony Wayne sent extra guys to the glass, and that made them vulnerable at the other end. One of the few times tonight that St. Francis really pushed it up. And here's a steal to run
Dangerous pass. Ferguson, big man running, and he misses the bunny. Did he get caught between laying it in and dunking it? He almost looked like he got flat-footed.
Boy, that's too bad, because that was going to be look like an easy deuce to say the least, if not one for the highlight reel. But I thought he got a little nonchalant there at the end. And wow, you just when you get a chance to put points on the board, you better capitalize, because this Anthony Wayne defense has really been suffocating all night long. One of the few easy looks here we've seen this evening.
So we remain knotted up at 20 apiece. Lob pass a little too high for Bender. Look, at this level, unless you are an absolute blue chipper, once you probably hit the top of the key, you have to decide, right? No shame in laying it up versus flushing it down and getting one for the ages, so to speak.
Yeah, right now there's no extra points for style points, so get to 2 points here, especially in this game where points have been a premium from the get-go.
But Ferguson on a mission after that miss, and he's contested by Pike here. And Anthony Wayne continues to clean the glass.
Yeah, they've done an excellent job on the boards, but now they have to take care of the basketball. 3 turnovers here in the last minute and a half by the Generals.
Popping out right wing, that's going to be a contested 3, and it's nothing but net for Bender.
Wow, that's a big time shot by the senior. Bender, a Premier Bank 3. That time he came off a screen, has momentum going away from the hoop. But boy, he made that look awfully easy. Good looking 3 ball.
His first points of the evening. He had 9 last night. As an answer at the other end is a 3 by Ferguson, and we're tied.
Another Premier Bank 3, this time by Ferguson at the other end. And the intensity continues to rise here.
Well, Kinney wasn't ready for that pass. They almost turn it over as Bender dribbles in and goes off his knee. Fortunately for the Generals, it's last touched by Ferguson.
Boy, that was almost another General turnover. Anthony Wayne has really struggled against this St. Francis pressure in the first 4 minutes of this third quarter.
We're not even halfway through the third quarter. It is ratcheted up. Low blocks. Shot just trickles off the front of the iron. Here comes Brown, 1-on-3, but nobody picks up the ball, and he's going to be called for a charge. Wave off the basket. Oh my goodness. And Coach Kashmerek out on the court. He is beside himself.
And I can't really blame him that time. They had numbers 3-on-2. Pike tried to take the charge, but really very little contact. Looked like he flopped, but he sold it.
Wow.
Wow, that is a potential game changer right there.
Not only wave off the basket, but Brown now picks up his second foul, and we stay tied at 23. Dangerous skip pass. Anthony Wayne's trying to calm things down, and Robeson will do just that. We'll spread the, we're going to have an offensive foul underneath. Yep, this one's going to go against Bender. Or is it? He gave a shove. Nope, they're going to call it on Ferguson for impeding, trying to jam him.
Yeah, that time Ferguson rerouted him and actually forced him out of bounds. Initially, I thought it was going to get called for running out of bounds, but they ruled it was because of the contact that he was running on the baseline.
Bender working against Soroka. Robeson just has court presence about him. He's not the tallest or the biggest guy on the court, but he knows what to do, and he crosses over here, initiates a little contact, can't get the 15-footer to fall.
Big rebound by Vince Ferguson once again, and that St. Francis defense has been stellar. Ferguson
look at
for
this.
3.
In and out. Scoop, you just get the feeling if one of these two teams could go on a 4, maybe a 6-point run, they're going to have it.
Just a couple quick buckets consecutively could be the difference this ball game. You don't want to blink here tonight. You're going to be in trouble.
Top of the key, Pike surrenders it. Boy, a hesitation, and again, the lane closed up on Robinson. Here comes Brown again. Stops and pops. Just a bit short. Heads up play, though, to follow his own shot.
Yeah, that's a heady play right there to track down that rebound. This will give St. Francis an extra possession.
Heck. Keeping a waist-high dribble. Ferguson just inside the arc. They're going to go into the low blocks to Horton, immediately double teamed. Ferguson put it on the floor, but he's stripped. There's a turnover as Robinson taps it up the Bender. And Robeson will slow it down. Wow.
Remember, Anthony Wayne only one basket here in this third quarter, and that was that tough 3-ball there.
Oh, Robeson, what a move off the square.
Pretty job that time by Blake Robeson. He broke down that defense in a little dipsy-doodle move there. That nice reverse off the window on the backside. Anthony Wayne back on top.
Heck stops and pops from 16. It's just a bit short. Pike pulling it down with one hand. Now under 90 seconds left to go in the quarter. Well, 7-5. St. Francis has outscored Anthony Wayne here in the third quarter. But the Generals maintaining a 2-point advantage. I will say this too, credit Pike. He has not forced anything this evening. Held to just 3 points.
St. Francis has done an excellent job on him, trying to limit his touches. And the few shots he's had to take them quickly because he knows the cavalry's not far behind.
And in effect here, they had the ball with what, about 1:10 left to go? It almost looks like Anthony Wayne is going to be content for the final shot of the quarter.
And plus they'll get the ball to start the fourth quarter, so guarantees you're going to have a lead going into the fourth if you can hang on to it and maybe get a little run going.
Did Robinson call timeout? He did. Heads up play, double, almost triple teamed out at half court. We will keep it here with 24 seconds left to go and a 30-second timeout being called. All right, now coming out of a timeout. It's not uncommon to see a coach set up a set play. If it's not there, then you back it out and maybe work for that last shot. But if you are Coach Arthur right now, are you trying to get, say, maybe number 22 or possibly Urinovich a good look off the sideline?
Well, either of those is a good option. I like Urinovich. You know, he's got maybe the best mismatch, I think, inside where he can post his guy up. He also is so good at making basket cuts, move without the basketball. But I think you got to be careful here. You don't want to just get caught holding the ball like they did there, forced to burn a timeout. A lot of teams will counter this by changing defenses. I'm not sure St. Francis will right here. But again, a big possession for both teams here, as we've had very little separation and very little scoring all night long.
Robinson inbounding on the sidelines. So much for setting up an inbounds play as they go into the backcourt.
Now, good denial defense that time by the Knights. They come out trying to trap here up high, sensing that the Generals want to hold for that last shot.
Zia releases the ball. They flash Pike in the high blocks. Quickly back out, catch and shoot. Good ball reversal. 5 seconds. Top of the key three, way short. 1 second, will they get it off? It's good if it goes! It does! Just the way they drew it up.
Great awareness there of the time. They made that extra pass.
Will Robinson.
Will Robinson makes them pay with that Premier Bank shot just before the horn. Boy, that was close, but it was the right call.
Little separation, a 5-point advantage as we go into the fourth and final quarter. Championship on the line. When we come back, you're watching the 2023 Grube Classic on DCTV Sports. Eight minutes. Buzzer sounds, fourth quarter. 8 minutes, that's all that separates one of these two teams, St. Francis and Anthony Wayne, from the championship of this year's Grube Classic here in Defiance. We welcome you back to the Dog Pound. Brent Balvin alongside Scoop Miller. Coming out of that first insurance group timeout, let's take a look at your Mark Moats Ford stat summary. Right now leading all players, Elvis Soroka with 9 for St. Francis. As the Generals have the ball loose, and we're going to have a turnover. Here comes Brown going 1-on-2, swatted away from behind and out of bounds. Who's it off? It's off of Anthony Wayne.
Now,
what a play.
Big time rejection and tremendous transition defense. Usually those live ball turnovers at half court end up being 2 points, but a great hustle play by the Generals to at least for the moment, take 2 points off the board for the Knights.
Leading scorer for the Generals off the bench, Will Robinson, including that 3 at the buzzer to win the third quarter to make it a 5-point Generals lead. Ferguson got away with an extra hop. Pike with a block. Who caught it? There were 3 blue jerseys around him, and they're going to say Pike caught his forearm apparently. That'll be Griffin Pike's first. Team foul number 1 here in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, Pike not happy. He thought there should have been a traveling call before the foul. But Ferguson now will go to the charity stripe. Just 1 for 4 in the season coming into this tournament.
Make him 2 for 5. He's got 4 points. It's a young man that averages nearly 9 a game. This one's long. Ricochets out, little pinball, and Johnny on the spot. Heck.
Yeah, one of the few offensive rebounds here for the Knights, but we'll see if they can capitalize. Boy, they played so hard in that third quarter, yet they were outscored 7-8 due to that 5-0 run late there by Anthony Wayne.
And we got a foul here. This is going to go against Mason Taylor for Anthony Wayne, his third. Heck thought about it. Elects to drive, splits a double team, and he's going to have a chance at a 3-point play.
Well, I hate to say it, but that's a heck of a play there by Jamison Heck. At that time, they were doubling down on the big man Horton inside, and he recognized it. He was able to kind of use that, knowing that they're not going to really help off him. It allowed him to get deep in the lane able to get the ball off the window up and in. So now chance for the and one.
He's short. 6'8", crashing the glass. Alan Horton with the putback, and it ends up being a 4-point play. We're tied at 28.
Oh, that's huge. A 5-0 run here, mostly due to that 4-point play right there, but just over a little minute into the fourth quarter, St. Francis continues to pressure the basketball.
Double team in the corner. This is a prayer. Pike crosses over. I thought he might attack. He does, and drains a 15-footer. And at the 6:36 mark, that is his first basket from the field tonight.
That's hard to believe, but that time you saw he was just going to step up. You could see he wanted the ball in his hands, and once he got it, there was going to be no denying. Big-time play there by the senior Pike.
We're going to have a foul down low, and I think it might be an offensive one against Alan Horton, throwing out a forearm, trying to post up down low, much to the chagrin of Coach Kashmarek. That is the look of a coach in disbelief.
Yeah, not happy with that call. This is not an easy game to officiate with the intensity we've seen. No matter where the basketball is, there's going to be pressure here tonight.
Pike open for three again, a little long. Ball kicks out, corralled by Heck. And Scoop, that last foul was Horton's third. Oh, wow, nifty jump stop and then splitting a double team. Vince Ferguson doing a pirouette, and we're tied at 30. And we've got a quick foul.
Vince Ferguson is so athletic, and you saw a little bit of it right there. Tremendous move. Kind of got away with the gather step right there, but wow, that's a big bucket. And we've had numerous ties here in this second half. We have another one here at 30 apiece.
Still not even halfway through this fourth quarter. Pike, does he want to take over? He's been content so far tonight with just 5 points. He averages nearly 17.
Well, this is where St. Francis has to get a stop. It seems Anthony Wayne always has an answer.
And we're going to have a whistle, I think, an over-the-back call. Might be on Kadzia.
Yeah, that time, I think no question about it. Just kind of made that
they're going to call it on Kinney.
But an easy call. Yeah, Kinney was the one that came over the back there going for that rebound, and good check out there by the Knights. And now St. Francis trying to take a lead. Boy, something they haven't had since early on in the first quarter.
And is that another offensive foul? That will be Horton's fourth. They're calling him for a charge.
Wow, they have really called that tight down there. Horton trying to get position.
Well, a Horton for a Horton. 6'11", checks in for 6'8". And you look at Coach Kashmarek there. I'm not a lip reader, but it's safe to say he is unhappy.
Yeah, you don't have to be a lip reader. You can just go by the redness on his face right now. He's boiling after that call. Third time he's been whistled for an offensive foul on the trying to get position down on the block.
Anthony Wayne trying to retake the lead. Boy, apparently Heck wasn't on him enough to force a 5 count. Stutter stepping. 6'11". Oh, what a nice up and under move, but left just a little short by Bender.
Yeah, it looked like Logan Horton might have got a little piece of the basketball on that release.
Ferguson. Pike cut him off. Brown comes to a jump stop. That's 2 dribble penetrations that Pike stopped in about 2 seconds.
Great help defense by Pike. Looked like that was going to be an easy drive to the rack.
Horton comes out, sets a beautiful screen. They set it up well. Heck couldn't get the 3 to fall. And another whistle underneath.
The ball hit the cable
on
that high bounce. That time, you know, the screen by Horton, I get it, but what that does, it takes him away from the potential rebound as the 6'11" man is beyond the 3-point line. So Anthony Wayne once again going to try to spread things out, look for that matchup they want, trying to go downhill.
Good dribble and dish. Here comes Pike, splits a double team, and Amongst the trees, draws the contact. I believe this is going to go against Logan Horton. And Pike will head back to the stripe.
Yeah, not bad defense. That time Pike just kind of forced the envelope. He was going to go to the rack regardless of what type of pressure he saw. But that time he gets bailed out. So we'll now have a pair from the stripe.
Misses here.
First one rims out. Both teams have left a lot of points on the table here tonight.
The foul was called against Ferguson, so it's his second. But Logan Horton will check out anyway, and with 4 fouls, Alan Horton checks back in for St. Francis. Pike trying to break a 30-30 deadlock. He can't. Offensive board for Kinney.
And even with Alan Horton in there, he's not able to corral that rebound. So another opportunity for Anthony Wayne.
Into the low blocks, tied up, and stepping on the baseline.
I believe that's going to be
call
the
a foul.
5th foul.
It is, and Alan Horton has just fouled out for St. Francis. He'll finish with 4 points, but at the 3:33 mark, he will have to watch the remainder of this game.
I understand why Coach Kashmerick put him in. You want to get the mileage out of the young man, but unfortunately, he gets whistled for the reach in.
Lob pass coming in bounds. 6'11 versus 6'8. In that case, another altered shot. Back across the timeline. Bender laying in wait for him. We're now into crunch time. Under 4 minutes left to go in this game. Knotted at 30. Ferguson on Pike. This is athlete on athlete. They'll switch. Ferguson down low. Horton goes up. Misses the bunny. Ferguson can't save it. I don't think Horton that time was preparing for a pass. He looked like he was preparing to box out.
Yeah, that time they got the ball down low to Horton. He had a good look, but you're right. I think he was trying to jockey for a position inside, but nonetheless, 2 points left off the table there.
Who wants a basket? Pike, 360 spin move. He didn't even see the rim, and instead of a travel, which is what St. Francis wanted, Anthony Wayne gets the foul.
Yeah, I think Griffin Pike certainly might have got away some steps right there. He just really dove into this guy, lost his footing. But feels like he might have superstar status out there tonight.
Man, Pike missed his last 2. Splits the nylon on his first offering here. He's 4 for 7 tonight from the line. This to try and make it a 2-point lead. He does. Last night, this is about the time of the ball game when Anthony Wayne salted it away against Defiance, hitting 7 of 12 free throws in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, they were awfully big down the stretch, especially the senior Hayden Bender, hitting 7 out of 8.
Ferguson on the drive, and he slips, turns the ball over. His sneakers betray him. He looked like he had space for a layup. And right now, the Knights coming out and putting all kinds of pressure on the ball.
Remember, both teams are in the penalties, so any fouls here on out will be the 2-shot variety.
Anthony Wayne just working the ball out around the perimeter. We're now under 2 minutes left to go in the contest. Kinney, he's been quiet tonight. Pike trying to post up against Ferguson. Ferguson with those 3 fouls. Right now, Anthony Wayne just content to milk the clock. Robeson on the drive, crosses over, kicks it right back out. Well, the Knights are not going to foul, so right now a little bit of a breather for both teams, but at the same time, clock really winding down. Robeson stripped by Heck, coast to coast, leans in. We're tied!
Now points from the defense. What a big time play there by Heck. Just a second
Pike
turnover.
trapped, double dribbled. Pike caught the ball on his knee, trying to hustle against the pressure. And that's a rare turnover for Anthony Wayne Starr. And we've got a timeout on the floor. 1:10 left to go. 32-32. Who will walk away with the championship Stick around and find out. We're back with more on DCTV Sports. One minute and 10 seconds. Anthony Wayne, 32. St. Francis, 32. We welcome you back to the Dog Pound. Brent Balbinot, Scoop Miller. Championship game of the 2023 Grube Classic. Who will leave with the hardware? Or will we need bonus ball?
There could be some free basketball coming up. Who knows? We've had 3 ties in this fourth quarter. We had it at 28 all, we had it at 30-30, and now 32-32. Anthony Wayne, until the last 2 possessions, phenomenal job taking care of the basketball, but now they've turned it over consecutive times here, and St. Francis with a chance to take the lead, something they haven't had since midway through the first quarter.
Well, let's see, have they got a set play coming out of this timeout? It doesn't look like it. So they're going to run their normal offense with under a minute left to go. I know it's a long time to wait, and you can get lulled to sleep. Are they going to work for the final shot here?
I think they want to take the last shot. They just have to be cognizant of the 5 count.
Brown stripped, loose ball. Heck, Johnny on the spot, and Coach Kaczmarek is quick to call a 30-second timeout. We'll break with them. 33 and 3/10 seconds left to go. Back with the final right after this on DCTV Sports. Timeout being called by St. Francis. There you take a look at Anthony Wayne's bench. Coach Arthur up, arms extended. 32-32, tie ball game with 33 and 3/10 seconds left to go in regulation. Championship game of the Grube Classic. Heck takes the inbounds. And indeed, it looks like the Knights will work for the final shot of regulation.
Well, I like it. Get the ball to Jamison Heck. He's the guy that's been a 3-year starter. All conference last year in the track.
Bender coming out on him, trying to force him to move against the 5-second call. And another timeout being called by Coach Kaczmarek. We will keep it here with 14 and 4/10 seconds left to go. All right, I know it's a little outside of that 10, 9-second kind of target zone where you want to put your offense into motion, but 14.4 seconds, are you starting something off the inbounds here, or are you going to wait about another handful of seconds before you run your offense?
Well, I told you during the last timeout, I think St. Francis is going for that walk-off win. I don't think they want to leave any time for Anthony Wayne, so I look for the ball to go in bounds to Jamison Heck. I look for them to try to spread the floor and let him kind of do his magic, go one-on-one. And if they try to double-team him, Heck is a very good assist man. He sees the floor. He's unselfish. He'll give the ball up to the open man if they try to double him up.
We'll wait and see what they come out of their huddle with. There you take a look at the Generals breaking theirs around Coach Josh Arthur.
Remember, St. Francis has not led since that first quarter. Their last lead was at 8-5 before a 3-ball tied it.
Man.
And since that time, they've been fighting an uphill battle, but now they have a chance to take the lead, and Coach Kaczmarek will love for it to be at the right time.
The inbounds comes to Heck. They'll give it up easily. He'll dribble out. 9 seconds. Got to get the offense moving. Stutter step. Working against Bender. Off a Horton screen. Underneath, and we have a foul. A foul being called on the floor on Blake Robeson. with 3 and 7/10 seconds left to go. Well, this is what you practice for, right?
Exactly, but remember, there's no longer a one-on-one, so this will be a two-shot foul here since that's the 5th Anthony Wayne foul this 4th quarter. So Heck comes in a 67% free throw shooter on the year, misses the front end.
It's a little tougher with the pressure on. He's now 0 for 2 tonight, and Coach Arthur is going to try to ice him. With 3 and 7/10 seconds left, Anthony Wayne will call a timeout. Now, this is more than just psychological head games, too. Scoop, whether he makes or misses this, you're trying to set something up if you're Anthony Wayne to get the last look, potentially for a win.
Absolutely. You know, you definitely are icing the shooter right here, but you also have to think ahead to the next play. So you have options. If he makes it, are you going to throw it in to half court and then burn another timeout to set up a play? Or are you going to try to hit them in transition and let Griffin Pike or somebody create off the dribble? You know, 3.7 is enough time. If you can get an inbounds pass that's heading toward the front court, you're going to have time to make several dribbles, make a move, even make a pass if necessary. And wow, what a big free throw coming up right now for the junior Jamison Heck. He's been a 3-year starter for these guys.
How many times in practice, at the end of a practice, does a coach say 1 to tie, 2 to win, and if you miss, you're running? Except now it actually counts. A game hangs in the balance.
Yeah, and I think this is the guy they want at the line. You know, he's that veteran player. He started every game for Coach Jamie Kazmarek, who's now in his 3rd season at St. Francis.
67% free throw shooter. Deep breath. Second is on the way. Rattles it home. And now a timeout, a substitution, as Pollock will check in for St. Francis, and Anthony Wayne actually wants a full timeout to set up what will be potentially the winning look. With that odd number, nobody's going to have bonus ball here.
And I like what Coach Kazmarek did that time. He had a substitute at the bench, so if the free throw goes in, it's going to stop play, going to allow you to set your defense up, get back, and not allow a quick pass by the general. So now a timeout. Anthony Wayne still has 1 timeout left, so they still have the option to throw it to half court and burn the timeout. Well, so they have some athletes that can make plays.
Here's my question for you, because Pike has normally been the inbounder, and you can run the baseline in this situation. So what is your setup? Are you running some type of flat play, or are you doing what you just said, get the ball out toward half court so we can burn our final timeout and set up a better look?
Yeah, I think they're probably going to have Pike back. I think you want that ball to go inbound to him. He's a guy that can go up in traffic and pull down a tough pass. And he's also the guy you probably want taking that last shot.
Now checking in for Anthony Wayne, number 15, Bryce Anderson. And look at this. The Knights are not going to put anybody in the front court, anybody on the ball. They're just going to hang out and play kind of center field. And now Anthony Wayne, nope, check it. This is going to be St. Francis calling a timeout. So here's where you go from playing checkers to playing chess if you're both head coaches.
Yeah, you knew that timeout was coming. Coach Kazmarek wanted to see what Coach Arthur had drawn up, and they did have Griffin Pike back. So he's that guy I think they're going to try to screen for. I think the entry is going to come to him, you know, between the timeline and the three-point line at the other end. I think they want to try to get the ball in his hands. Remember, St. Francis cannot foul.
Yeah,
any fouls at
true.
This juncture are going to be 2 shots.
And it looks like Anthony Wayne is switching up, but St. Francis is not. Everybody, look at this, in the front court. Anderson, baseball length pass, overshoots everybody, and all of a sudden bring it back to the baseline, except St. Francis will be inbounding.
Yeah, that time they set the screen for Griffin Pike, but when he came off that screen, he bumped into a St. Francis player, which threw it offline. That pass was really where it was designed to be, but Pike could not get there with the contact, and since it's untouched, it'll be St. Francis ball. They just have to get it in here.
Well, Anthony Wayne's got a foul immediately.
Quick foul.
Inbounding, at least looking for it. Everybody draped and burning a timeout. We will keep it here. All right, so let me ask you this. If that play works, if Pike doesn't get tangled up, then potentially he's in the spot. That's almost the equivalent of a timing play in football where you're just kind of lobbing it up to the back corner of the end zone, letting your athlete run up and get it. Does that surprise you somewhat, though, that they were trying to go full court instead of bringing somebody back on one of those flat plays that coaches like to use, get it to half court with still one timeout left, and then resetting your offense? Or is it 6 of one, half dozen of the other?
Well, since Pike's the guy they want the ball in his hands, I thought they would probably go between the top of the key and the half-court line, and they were trying to go to the top of the key there, no question about it. But to credit St. Francis, they had that extra defender back there, did not put anybody up on the basketball. So right now, that was the last timeout by St. Francis, so they need to get the ball in. What you don't want to do if you're the Knights is try to throw one toward half court you can't get in. You'd probably rather have a 5-second call right here than anything else. But if nothing else, throw the ball to a corner, make sure it's touched. Force Anthony Wayne to either burn her last time out or go the distance here if you can't get it in.
Nobody on the ball. Soroka will try and lob it in. They're trying to get Heck in the far corner. He's got it. He's fouled immediately. Less than a second ticked off the clock. But back to the charity stripe.
Yeah, great job by the Generals. They did all they could to deny it. St. Francis got the ball to who they wanted to get it to, Jamison Heck. But I like how Anthony Wayne did not even let any time go off. I mean, at 7/10 of a second, that's about as quick as you're going to get a foul.
Heck drains his first. Now,
even if he
hits
makes
this,
both,
exactly.
you know, you're still probably, if you can get a 3 off, that's what you're going to be happy with. You're probably not going to have time to get it down to 2 anyways.
Heck trying to make it a 3-point lead. And he does. Ice water in his veins. And now Anthony Wayne will burn their final timeout. With 3 seconds left to go, now you're drawing up a 3-point look. You know what you need, but you have to go the length of the court this time.
Yeah, you have to go the length of the court, and you no longer have the luxury of getting it in bounds and burning the timeout. So they're going to have to maybe do the Valparaiso Bryce Drew play where you can throw it to somebody near the maybe 10-foot line of the volleyball court between the top of the key and half court, and then look for a quick outlet pass to either side. Or if you get it to Pike in that position, he's the guy that can create that three-pointer, can shoot it over guys. But again, it's been a chess match. Both Josh Arthur and Jamie Kashmerick have done such a great job with their respective programs. And these teams, regardless of what happens here, these teams are both going to win a lot of ball games this season.
I was trying to look up the name of that Valparaiso play. Coach Drew had a specific name for it, and I can't remember. It wasn't Rocket, but it was something along those lines, but everything had to hit perfectly.
My dad coached Bryce Drew back in the day, in his high school days, so I think they called that the home run play. At least that's what we called it, but they worked on that in their backyard many times.
Anderson to inbound. He's throwing it up for grabs. It's tapped, and coming down with it, Pollock's got it. He's pushed to the ground with 0.8 of a second left. He'll head back to the other end of the gym to shoot a pair of free throws, but for all intents and purposes, that's the final nail in the coffin.
Yeah, this has been an amazing comeback for St. Francis. Remember, they did not take the lead since the midway part of the first quarter until, 3.4 to go on that free throw by Heck. And right now, all they need to do is put in 1 out of 2 to seal the deal.
Pollock's long.
And right now, with no timeouts, just make sure you hit the rim if you miss. Anthony Wayne may have enough time to chuck one from deep.
It's short. This is not even going to be close. And that is your ball game. Coming from behind to win their first lead, as Scoop mentioned in the second half, came with under 10 seconds left to go. St. Francis would have been happy if it came at the buzzer, because they are leaving with a 35-32 victory. Now 6-1 overall. And just as importantly, this year's champion of the Grube Classic.
Oh, this has to feel awfully good for St. Francis because they were behind the 8 ball for the majority of this contest. But what can you say about that Knight defense in that fourth quarter? They allowed just 4 Anthony Wayne points. this is an Anthony Wayne team that is probably going to average nearly 60 points a game throughout the season. They were really stymied there in that fourth quarter, where St. Francis did a great job of just kind of persevering because things did not go their way. They had some tough calls go against them. They had foul trouble all night, but they found a way to get it done. This has to feel awfully good after coming up, I think, 4 points short in last year's championship game of the inaugural Grube Family Holiday Classic when they lost to the host Bulldogs. But they get a nice revenge and a nice tournament here today. Wow, an impressive two-game sweep here for St. Francis.
We're going to take a quick First Insurance Group timeout. When we come back, it's the Brunswick Eye and Contact Lens Center postgame show. You're watching the championship game of the 2023 Grube Classic on DCTV Sports. We welcome you back to the Dog Pound. Brent Balbinot alongside Scoop Miller. Time for the Brunswick Eye and Contact Lens Center post-game show. It came down literally to the final seconds. A defensive-oriented, very physical ball game. But in the end, the Knights of St. Francis solved the game away from the free throw line, and in particular, point guard Jamison Heck. He finishes with 10 points tonight, 3 of 4 from the charity stripe in the closing seconds, and it all adds up to a Knights 35-32 victory. Scoop, it played out pretty much like you said it would. Maybe we'll give you a headset next week.
Well, I tell you what, this is a fun tournament. The folks here at Defiance did such an incredible job, and of course the Grube family for putting this thing on. But we saw some great basketball here this week. And how about this championship game? Everything you wanted and then some. St. Francis was behind just about all but 4 minutes of this contest tonight, but they retook the lead at the right time, less than 4 seconds to go, and their defense was stellar there, holding the Generals to just 4 points there in that fourth quarter. And I really thought that, the defense by not just Jamison Heck, but the rest of his guys really came to play there. Remember, Anthony Wayne was trying to milk this thing out, had the basketball in a lead there under 2 minutes to go, but consecutive turnovers forced by that St. Francis defense is really what turned this game around.
Time for a look at your Mark Moats Ford stat summary. Let's run down the scoring totals first. Again, leading all players tonight, it was Jamison Heck with 10 points. As a matter of fact, 7 of those coming not just in the second half, but in the fourth quarter. And as we mentioned, 3 of 4 from the charity stripe with the game on the line. Elvis Soroka just a point behind him at 9. Vince Ferguson finishes with 8, and 4 points apiece for Raheem Brown and Alan Horton, who fouled out with 3.5 minutes left to go in this game. Scoop, all the scoring done by the starters tonight, not a single bench point for the Knights.
Yeah, just incredible. And the fact that they did it without Alan Horton out there, who fouled out, again, with north of 3 minutes to go. But he did get some support there, especially from his defense. But again, this has got to be a quality win here, because this is an Anthony Wayne team that's been so successful last year, co-NLL champions, which just speaks volumes in itself. But again, just an all-round team effort. But what can you say about the job of Jamison Heck down the stretch, scoring 7 points there in that fourth quarter.
On the flip side, for Coach Josh Arthur and the Generals, they were led by Griffin Pike, but he was held to less than half of his per-game average. He came into this one averaging 16.4 points per contest. He finishes with 7. Now, to his credit, Scoop, he didn't force things. He let his teammates get involved. He was very good with his off-the-ball movement. But again, I don't want to say shut him down, but they certainly contained Griffin Pike. Just 7 points this evening. Behind him, Jackson Urinovich shut out in the second half. He scored 6 points in the second quarter. Looked like he was going to be a factor. He was through the first 16 minutes, but scoreless over quarters 3 and 4. He finishes with 6. 4 points for starting point guard Blake Robeson. 3 apiece for Grant Kinney and Hayden Bender. 8 points off the bench for Will Robinson, and 1 of 2 from the free throw line for Zane Kadzia. So again, a situation here where we could play another quarter and it might be a 3-point advantage for the Generals the other way around. But tonight, this is how regulation played out. The Brunswick Eye and Contact Lens Center postgame show. We're going to take our final break. When we come back, we'll have our Steichman Automotive Player of the Game. Don't go anywhere. You're watching DCTV Sports. Brunswick Eye and Contact Lens Center postgame show. We're putting a wrap on it back at the Dog Pound. Brent Balbinot alongside Scoop Miller. We ran down your Mark Moats Ford stat summary. We've got one last piece of business before we put a bow on this one tonight. Time for your Steichman Automotive Group Player of the Game. Look, in a game like this, you're not going to have that 15 to 20 point stat filler-upper that just jumps out at you. You have to look at who did what, a lot of the intangibles, certainly at the defensive end of things. But again, Jamison Heck stepped up to the free throw line with the game on the line, and he hit 3 of 4 in the closing seconds to finish with 10 points. He is our Steichman Automotive Player of the Game, and pays to have senior leadership at the point guard position.
Well, I tell you what, and he's only a junior, but he
Yep.
feels like a senior because he's been a 3-year starter for the Knights, and but he's that calming presence. We talked about that at the break, the fact that, you know, you look down the stretch there when things got tight. I thought St. Francis did a great job running some sets to make sure the inbound pass came to Jamison Heck, and he kind of did his magic. He scored 7 points in that fourth quarter, and again, 3 for 4 there from the foul line, in the last 3.7 seconds. So he did such a great job at the defensive end. He's that steady presence out there. It's just been not only a tough guard, but he's that leader out there they need. And congratulations to Jamison Heck for being named Player of the Game here tonight. He certainly earned it.
Our Steichman Automotive Player of the Game. That is going to do it for our coverage here this evening. It has been more than yeoman's work for our crew over the last 2 days. Everybody doing a fantastic job both last night and tonight. Again, for my color announcer, Scoop Miller, I'm Brent Balbinot, thanking our sponsors, our underwriters. There you go. For helping bring you live coverage of local athletics. Folks, if you enjoy our coverage of area high school sports, please walk through the doors of these sponsors, patronize those businesses, let them know how much you appreciate it. And as always, we appreciate you, the fan, for tuning in. Final score again tonight. St. Francis takes the championship of the 2023 Grube Classic by a final of 35-32. Everybody have yourself a safe and enjoyable Christmas, New Year, and happy holidays. You've been watching a sports presentation of DCTV Sports.